I got a brand new van and I'm out on my own. This outfit must be crazy 'cause they left me on my own. I'm gonna be fired soon, wish I could sleep till noon. I'm not lazy, I just don't have a clue. When I went to trade school, it was COVID-19. Only touched one thing and it wasn't a machine. I'll surely be fired soon 'cause I'm an overpaid buffoon. That is my sentence as an HVAC apprentice. And all the super techs say I'll never find my way. They've been doing it for 30 years. But when those old farts finally walk out the door, it'll be to a bunch of cheers. I got a brand new van, I'm out on my own. This outfit must be lunatics 'cause they left me on my own. I'm gonna be fired soon, never should have been hired. I'm not lazy, I'm just an HVAC apprentice. I'm not lazy, just an HVAC apprentice. I'm not lazy, I'm just an HVAC apprentice. EPA 608, I'll get it someday. Tonight I have a very special episode of HVAC Shop Talk, as opposed to all the other episodes which are completely ordinary. Okay, I'm joined by 3 other technicians tonight, but not just HVAC technicians, experienced veteran technicians to talk about a variety of subjects and take your comments and hopefully answer something and help somebody out or just expand a discussion so we all learn something. I'm joined by Joe Shearer, or Joe Mad Scientist Shearer, who is the only one to ever use an ECM motor as a shop blower. That's right. Joe broke into the trades in 2002 at the age of 19. He left his job changing oil to join his father's company, and eventually he bought his father out in 2018 after getting his contractor's license in 2016. Joe is a meticulous guy. He does a great job. If you ever watched any of his videos, he doesn't put out a whole lot of videos on YouTube, but when he does, he's usually doing an in-depth analysis of an HVAC system or doing something, like I said earlier, mad scientisty. Many of you know Dallas Grissom as Dizzy Dallas. And if you know Dizzy Dallas, you know him for installing ream systems and doing service calls on YouTube. I've never seen someone install so many ream systems in all my life. And as it turns out, Dallas was with the same company for 38 years. That's after starting in the HVAC trade in 1984. Just recently, he transferred jobs because his boss retired, and now he's enjoying a second company for the first time in 40 years. One of my favorite type of people because he's extremely intelligent, extremely good at his job, and also very humble. So I was wondering what our next guest name was. Eric Melee, Meal Ticket. I don't know what his name is, but then I thought to myself, haven't I seen him on a video before? The voice of the industry did say his name.
Eric Melee.
Yeah, that's it. Melee. So Eric Melee, he's been in the industry for over 20 years as well, and he's a very interesting character because he's worked on everything from the ancient mini split to 4-digit tonnage machines, so heavy commercial all the way down to residential. He never knows what he's going to see on a daily basis, which makes life kind of exciting and gives him a wide breadth of experience, which hopefully he can give a little bit of to you guys tonight. So that's a pretty good group right there. 3 great technicians, and of course me. A guy who changes run capacitors and leaves them in the box. A guy who doesn't put the vacuum on camera because he doesn't want everybody to see that it only reached 1100. That's me. That's Zach Scioto. I'm the host of the show. That's why I'm not in the field right now, because I'll be doing too much damage out there. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, but of course, let's have a little bit of fun before we get started. Hello and welcome back to the HVAC Fake News. My name is Zach Scioto, and I have a cold. Recently at the HVAC Excellence Competition, various participants were tasked with having to spot a Goodman unit in an array of pictures of different brands. It was an easy challenge, however, because the Goodman unit was the only one surrounded by the other scrap units at the scrapyard. In a recent interview, top EPA officials were asked why they continue to push our industry and technicians toward more and more combustible refrigerants. Their answer was, "We are trying to kill all the technicians, and going to their job sites and shooting them with flamethrowers is just too labor intensive." Top psychologists have put out a recent survey that quoted that HVAC installers were 75% more likely to participate in violent crimes than HVAC service techs. The psychologists theorized that this was because after a few 140-degree attic installs, the installers felt they had nothing left to lose. Obesity is running rampant in the HVAC trade. Now more than ever, plumpy, portly HVAC technicians litter the supply house more than wadded-up paper on the bottom of the HVAC Shop Talk floor. But in order to raise morale a little bit higher than it would be before, HVAC Shop Talk has decided to create 5 names that obese HVAC techs can call themselves in order to lift their morale. Number 1. The Blown Run Cap. Number 2. Flex Duct Full of Water. Number 3. The Expander. Number 4. It's a lowrider service truck now. Number 5. The Vito XXXL. The Train Manufacturing Company is looking at putting out a brand new service for their Train dealers this year. They will be taking all of the Train dealers out for a wilderness adventure this winter. For the main activity, the highest grossing Train dealers will watch the lowest grossing Train dealers being fed to various wolves and bears while they eat popcorn and talk about what it's like to be a gold and silver tier dealer. Our final story, York gets recognized as an excellent brand. Finally, after all these years, York & Johnson Controls is being congratulated because they are more environmentally friendly than any other brand. While refrigerant has been long known to be dangerous to the environment, York can now boast that their microchannel coils, as percentage, have less refrigerant in them than the atmosphere itself. My name is Zach Scioto. This was the HVAC Fake News. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the HVAC Shop Talk podcast. Joe, you were looking like down whenever I had like the whole segment where it showed you and Ted, so I hope you didn't miss it, but I feel like you missed it.
I guess I did. I was waiting to hear something, and I'm guessing it was the part where the highest Train dealers ate the lowest ones.
That's right. You were the lowest one.
I was going to ask. That's messed up, Zach.
Well, you know what the thing is? Ted was on here.
There's no, big reward for being the biggest Train salesman,
There's
So
there's no large conference where you
there's
get like some kind of
fed to the
Illuminati
bears
thing.
no, that's a lie.
I figure it's one of them like eyes wide shut type things like the Clintons used to go to.
Used to?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right. That's funny, man. But no, he was on here a couple weeks ago and he said Joe's a train dealer too now. I was like, what? Joe sells like a Mana, a Ream, or something like that. He's like, no, he sells trains. You sell trains, Joe?
Yeah, I got signed up with them. I haven't sold one yet, but I can if I want to.
Wow, that sounds like you're real fired up about train, man.
Yeah, I don't know. You know,
So what's
there's
the
some
deal?
things I don't like about them so much, but
Is it Ted?
Yeah, like their water source units.
I don't. I wouldn't. I don't. I'm pretty sure they don't make their own water source units anyway. It's probably someone else's.
I
put
think
their
they
name
do
on.
because I've never seen anybody else's like theirs.
In a
Kinda-
good way.
That sounds negative, actually. What's wrong with them? Why are they bad?
They're just annoying. To what?
No, the water source.
Who are you
units.
asking?
Oh,
Who are you asking?
I'm asking
Yeah.
Nordine
the
is
water
best.
source. The water source units. All right. So here's one thing about them that's really, really odd that I don't like about them. The vertical, like smaller tonnage ones, it has just a slab coil that's either on the left or the right usually. It's just a straight up and down coil, and then blower discharges out the top, so it has a flat drain pan. While the outlet of the drain pan is in the back of the unit, and the drain runs completely level to the front of the unit and then out. So how are you supposed to slope that? I mean, you have to basically set the unit perfectly level so you have a perfectly level drain, because if you try to pitch it any sort of way, it's not going to be in your favor. Because if you make the back of the unit higher, it just doesn't work out. Because then the water pools to the front of the pan and doesn't go to the back of the pan to the outlet and then back out the front of the unit.
That's a good reason. Yeah. I'm
And
guessing
another
that
annoying thing about them is the entire control section has to be unmounted and removed from the unit to get to the compressor capacitor.
But
So that's
it
quite
seems to
annoying.
me like everything I've seen about like water source systems or geothermal systems is they're set up to make service a nightmare.
I mean, maybe, but train even more so.
Train's the worst of the group. Well, Joe, why is it that you seem kind of half-hearted with selling train? What's the problem? Why don't you jump on board so you can be like the other guys who run the world or whatever? You know, Ted.
I mean, I will when the basically what drove me to do it was that Ream is going all two-stage for this, I guess in heat pumps anyway, which is primarily what I do. So their two-stage units now are like, about twice as much as I can get like a 14 SEER unit for. So I'm just kind of waiting. They still haven't released the pricing on that, but then Ted and me were arguing one night, and Ted was saying that their 14 SEER units already meet the standards, and I called him a liar because how can you just have one unit one day that's 14 SEER and then tomorrow it magically meets the other one? But so in an effort to prove him wrong, I looked it up, and sure enough, there are a lot of their 14 SEER units already are in the database with the new ratings. So, and then I guess through the whole supply chain crisis and everything, some train dealers have not been able to get equipment as much. So they're actually trying to sign people up and not making them sign any, contracts or guarantee that you'll sell $50,000 worth of equipment or whatever. So they just signed me up. So, I started looking at them. I'm not like super crazy about the air handler sizes as much as that's one really nice thing I've come to love about selling Ream is pretty compact air handlers. And the train, it's from what I've kind of been looking at it, they're a pretty giant air handler. So I'm just, I
Talking
don't
about
know.
them plastic lunchbox ones.
Not even that. I do like that air handler. I've come to like it more simply because here in Florida, after dealing with like a lot of water management issues, I just wouldn't mind the fact that the unit is the drain pan, you know. But so I don't hate that air handler. They are really expensive, and the metal ones, it seems like they only come in two sizes. It's like 18 and a half or 23 and a half. So to me, that's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I like
just,
them too. I like the little. I know they're not plastic or whatever. Well, they might be partially plastic or whatever. But I like it too. I like the fact you could clean it out real easy because some of
Yeah.
them look pretty funky after a while.
Just spray it down,
Yep, hose it off. But you know what? Speaking of
especially
ring,
the motor hose it.
yeah, there's little holes you could spray inside of it. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. That's what those are for. Constant duty, constant flow. Dallas,
Write
do you
that down,
still get
people
to
in the
put in?
chat.
Say what, Joe?
I was gonna say, take notes, people in the chat.
Yeah, take note. There's a lot of knowledge flowing out here today. Dallas, do you still do Ream stuff? Because I know you switched companies. So are you doing Ream still, or is it something else?
Yeah, they do a Ream, Goodman, and Bosch.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
So it's a
God.
Bosch.
Yeah.
Oh, this is better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
Dallas.
I'm a Bosch lover now. I'm a Bosch lover.
Are
What?
you legit a Bosch lover? Do you like them?
Well, actually, the guys install them. So
Be
I've
careful.
I've never worked on one yet. So I've just been to jobs where they are running and the customers haven't complained or anything like that.
Well, to clear this up, Dallas is climate. They actually want humidity.
Yeah, because where I live,
I
even
see.
right now, towards fall, it's gonna be warm out, but the humidity can go down single digits. It can get as low as like 4%. So
And,
we're not.
and didn't
we're
you
not
say you
Ah.
purposely run the fan on to drive the humidity up more?
Yes. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So Bosch is perfect.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
but the customers we put them in for, they like them because they're nice and quiet. They love them because they're quiet. And
They are.
knock on wood, I haven't been on the service call where they said it wasn't working, type thing. Because how they ramp down. So, and it seems like they're built good. They're solidly built. They're quiet, so customers don't complain right now. So, and the fan coils are pretty well built too. So, I'm officially a Bosch lover, I would say.
Did you
Oh
work
my
on the-
gosh, Dallas, we are not friends anymore.
Well, hold on.
No,
I mean,
take
he's
that.
right. If you're going to put a Bosch in the desert, it's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's where a Bosch
Yeah.
belongs.
Yeah.
Is the desert.
Out here, they're all worried about there's limited size. So I love how small it is, but you're still supposed to have them 12 inches away from the house. They still get rammed 6 inches, 4 inches away from up to the house or the block wall. So they're really not that much of a space savings if you read the directions, because the reams can go like 6 inches. So
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that's
What
like
about
like I
those
said.
Ream and Fujitsu systems? Have you done one of those yet?
Oh, yeah.
no, our company has, but I haven't been to one yet. I just saw pictures of one. Turned out really nice. So I haven't been to one of those either. So I'd like to check that out. I think it's going to be a real quiet unit.
It should be, right?
Yeah,
It should be really quiet.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing
Are you
they're
talking
variable
about-
speed.
Yeah, the one I looked at, it had, I think it had a couple circuits on it. You know if they have a couple circuits on there, Joe? Like
The one I'm talking about is just an air handler and a condenser, but it's the Fujitsu condenser on a Ream air handler.
Yeah, it looks like it has Fujitsu electronics inside of it.
Oh, the air handler?
Yeah, it's not like a conventional air handler. It's different. So yeah, I had pictures on it.
I've seen those before.
Yeah.
They
So
were
you're
brand
talking
new.
a mini split condenser on a standard air
Yes.
handler?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrier supposedly is doing that too. I haven't seen one though.
Now,
Yeah,
as-
apparently I think, I guess Medea's making them now. So there's all these. There's like a Mr. Cool DIY split system now. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
gonna be.
Is
Oh,
that
man,
that guy you sent me the link to on YouTube that has like 80
Yeah.
videos that are an
Yeah.
hour long?
Yeah, that's great.
Well, Mr. Cool, I made like a, speaking of like the intros of these shows, I made like a whole commercial about Mr. Cool. I'm guessing it must be the same unit because they have the line sets, and what I said was like you just plug them together, they go, and it's finished, and you're all done.
Are they the pre-charged line sets?
That's what I thought.
Just like the old
Pre-charged.
days. Yeah,
Like
we
those
went.
Liebert units?
We're residential.
Yeah, like those Lieber. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I see 'em
407C.
I've seen them on different residential units too. I think I've seen them on. Did Train do that for a while? Who did
Yeah,
that?
and like,
I've seen
well,
those
that-
line sets.
Yeah, that was popular back in the day. And
I've seen them on refrigeration units too, like even newer ones where it's that weird fitting that like cuts the other fitting when you put it together.
It pierces through the little.
Yeah, I think trailers used to do that too back in the
Yeah.
day. Because you'd see them, you go up on them, and they don't have service valves or anything. They just have the line sets right to the unit.
Yeah. Yes.
It's weird. It's weird stuff.
Yeah, it's like technology just goes around in big circles.
Yeah, that's innovative. You know, if someone showed me now, it's like, wow, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you can just install your own, and it'll be perfect. But you still got to
Yeah.
like wire it and stuff. I mean, you install your own, you still got like high voltage and stuff. A couple of these people got to be getting zapped periodically or something.
Well,
Yeah,
people
but I
were
mean,
killing
these
themselves
people
with
are always like
microwave
you know,
transformers.
Yeah.
these
Did you see that thing
DIYers.
with? Did you see the microwave transformers and the wood burning art? People were frying
Yeah.
themselves on those.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was a big thing for a while.
Yeah, it's super dangerous.
A YouTube guy used to do that. An HVAC guy used to do that sort of thing too. Made it look real easy. Everybody give it a shot.
Yeah, real easy. One slip and that's it.
That's
How
the
many
end.
volts do those put off? Like 2,000 or
I
5,000?
thought it was like 10,000.
Yeah, I thought it was like
Maybe
5
more?
digits. Yeah, I thought it was a lot. Enough to ruin your day.
Yeah.
Enough to cook your hot dog.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I remember it was a pretty gruesome story, but basically a person did it, and they were lucky they didn't die, but they're like permanently disfigured now, like seriously permanently disfigured, because they
Man.
saw it on YouTube or somewhere, and they tried it. Their
I'm trying to
hand
find
slipped,
this.
and whatever that thing puts off was, it's a bad time.
What's this stuff called? There's a name to it.
High voltage wood burning, bro.
Nah,
Wood
it's
burning,
like
wood burn,
fractal.
just
It
wood
is
burning
Oh,
art,
fractal. Yeah.
maybe.
I'm just gonna write fractal wood burning accident and see what pops up here. See if there's something we can show. Some guy would have his face, like Gus Fring or something. Let's see. Oh yeah,
think they
there's
messed
some
up their
gruesome
arm.
stuff.
Turn
Oh,
safe
yeah.
search off.
Hey, I'm on Tor. That's my browser. I got some real questionable stuff popping up on the other screen, guys.
Oh no.
No, I don't even want to show this. There's a guy with like his hand. It's like there's a hole through his hand
Oh,
or
wow.
something.
Yeah.
It's-
It's like when they steal the copper. If you Google a copper stealing, you'll see guys that next to telephone poles or transformers all burnt. Like whoops.
yeah.
Don't want to see that.
Yeah, they chop the stuff off. It's like they brought like the loppers you cut your branches with to
Yeah,
a job,
yeah.
and then they cut the copper, and then they cut the whip
Yeah.
with the
yeah,
same ones. It's like, I don't know about
Yeah.
that, man. That ain't a good plan.
Yeah.
Crystal meth or no crystal meth, that's a
Yeah.
bad idea. It still happens quite a bit, doesn't it? When's the last time you had something stolen off a job site? Anybody?
I've been lucky, knock on wood,
It's
Yeah,
happening
it's
right
been a
now.
while.
but you have to keep your doors locked on your trucks at all time. You can't make one mistake.
I had some.
Yeah, you gotta be
guys-
careful. Like you can't even bring your whole tool bag in. You gotta bring whatever fits in your pockets and then
Yeah, exactly.
walk
the,
back and forth.
the guys get those nice pack outs and put them in their truck.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
right.
Yeah.
Hey, what,
Yeah, then
what
they label them so the guy can tell. Ooh,
Copper fittings.
expensive tools?
Yeah.
Yeah, I manifold. Get that one. Yeah.
What was it? I
Put all
think
my
Joe, you
crappy
were in
stuff
the
in that.
Joe, you're in the group chat, but I don't know if you remember. Anthony showed the video of his buddy who's a plumber was parked at a hospital emergency room doing work in the hospital. These guys just were wearing. They walked up to his truck wearing hard hats and high visibility vests with a gas powered chop saw and just chopped right through his puck lock on his door of his van,
Oh,
opened it,
jeez.
and they were gone in like 45 seconds with his press tools, his copper fittings, and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
They're
Wow.
good.
But
Like, do you
wearing the most
really need a
conspicuous outfit.
gas-powered chop saw for that? I mean,
Well, that's how they're in there in 2 seconds. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's efficient.
I-
They're
like
always really
nothing to
good.
see here. People just doing
I
some
know.
work.
The best part is they're wearing high visibility vests too, while you're chopping on a car with a gas powered saw in a busy parking lot.
Hey, have you ever seen those like
That's pretty
those
good. Hey,
clips
M18, bro, that
where
thing's nice.
you can like get into any concert or anything if you just walk in like carrying a ladder? People just let you.
Oh, yeah.
You
like,
can get anywhere. You can get anywhere. You just have to have the right shirt and, like you
Yeah.
said, the
Yeah.
right vehicle and be
Yeah.
carrying a ladder or a tool bag or
Yeah.
both, and just have some even the weakest cover story, especially if you have like a communications company shirt on, like AT&T or Spectrum. Go get a shirt embroidered with that, because you'd be like, oh yeah, they're having problem with the router. I got to go check it out. I got to work.
You better
pick it
let me in here.
Yeah, this whole thing's gonna be held up, guy, and it's gonna be your job on the line. Well, get on in there, man. All righty.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a couple questions out here in the chat. First of all, the guy who makes the wood burning stuff, he's watching. He's here. He's an HVAC guy. His name is Jake Porter, and he says, I still burn wood, but I don't put it on YouTube. I made a safer, device, I'm going to skip that word, out of an oil burner ignition transformer that was 10,000 volts, but only 23 milliamps. So a lot of voltage, but not a whole lot of current flowing. So that's Jake. And
So he hurt himself doing that or not? Is that what y'all were saying?
I think he's not putting the videos on YouTube for liability reasons, maybe.
yeah, he used to do it all the time. I mean, he made some really cool stuff. I mean,
Well,
I've
a
never
lot
tried
of-
it. I wasn't going to try it.
Well, here's the thing: is a lot of people put those videos up like it wasn't a big deal. They're just like, get an old microwave, get this thing, and burn wood. You know, people didn't think about the dangers involved properly. So
Yeah. That's where great news stories come from. Another question from Mike HVAC. Just kind of a quick brand question. What's everybody's preferred brand to sell or service? Which I think, Dallas, if you don't say Ream, I'm going to question.
Ream.
Better not say Bosch, Dallas.
Give it time. Bosch will grow on you in a desert environment. It's going to be these are great.
Like
I'll
a
keep
cancer.
you updated. I'll do a couple customer interviews. Like, tell me about the Bosch system, how much you like it.
Oh yeah, that's so helpful.
Yeah.
A nice commercial.
So-
I love my
No,
Bosch.
I'm waiting for one of those circuit boards to go out in it. You know,
Mhm.
I wonder how long it'll take to get one of those.
Don't worry, there's
Gotta put it
7
in
out
the
on that ship in the LA harbor. You just gotta
Yeah, yeah.
swim out there to get it.
Yeah.
Dallas, if you could
Yeah.
just get in your little raft and head out.
Yeah, exactly.
They make them
Yeah.
on demand. They just build them in China. As soon as you order it, they start building, and then they put it on the boat. So I think it's like a month or two. They ship the Ameristar parts with it, so it's real fast.
I don't like the Goodman units. I'll tell you that much.
We're gonna get along just fine.
Yeah. Taking the condenser fan motors off, and then bing, 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 bing. Then you got to put it all back on again.
Bing, 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 bing.
bloomin'
What you
onion.
talking about? Oh,
Yeah.
Goodman.
the bloomin' onion,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much.
It's time for a redesign. I mean, Goodman's
Yeah.
had that for, 2006 is when that
Yeah.
unit came out.
And then they changed the
No, the tan
dryer.
ones were like that too. The tan ones before those
No, but
were
I
the
mean,
same
the
way.
ones they have now, it's time for a redesign. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're like,
Well, they took the corner posts out to make it less stable.
yeah,
That was
they're
the last
always so,
redesign.
like, Goodman, I've gone to the factory tour a couple of times. They're always so proud of themselves to point out the fact that they could, like, we have it down to a science of exactly how much paint it takes.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, some,
What?
I promise you, they're probably, we have it down to a science, like, how
They think that
thin that
nobody else
metal can
does?
get. because it's like a razor blade now. And when they come on, the whole unit goes like, because the whole thing kind of like, bah! So,
Then we gotta change
guys,
the
I think you found the limit and you went a little bit too far.
Yeah.
You
Come
gotta
back on
change
this
the
side.
dryer out too on those things. Is a big pain.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Oh my god, they need to refocus on that too.
Not as bad as Lennox, though. I'll say
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
I have a
will
Lennox and
say
I
that.
changed my dryer out and it was not fun.
Yeah. They wonder why people don't change them out.
Yeah.
I
Just
moved
put in
it.
that second one.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's only been open to the atmosphere for a couple of minutes. We're
Just
good.
point the arrows toward each other. That's how they're
Yeah.
supposed to be oriented.
Yeah.
They cancel each other out.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly. But to answer that question that was asked, I would say my favorite would be Train to Service, because they have really good wiring schematics and most of their units are really service friendly, except for the water source units.
Yeah.
Yeah. The aforementioned water source. Now, are you referring to like larger stuff though? Because you work on a lot of larger stuff, or is that in general?
I think all of their stuff's pretty service friendly.
I think so. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, as far as I can recall.
The heat pumps, look where the reversing valve is. On the smaller ones, it's the easiest one to get to.
Yeah.
Not the easiest one, but it is nice.
What's easier than the Train ones? Well,
Ream.
the old Ream coffin style
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Come
They
on,
don't
you
even
gotta
make
give
those
it to
anymore,
that.
though, right?
No, they don't.
But yeah, those were nice.
I like those the best. They were
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Why'd they have to change that? I mean, now they're kind of nice. I mean, I
Yeah.
still like them, but the old ones, man, that was like, this is the
Well-
best. You know, it got dirty in there, but besides that, I liked it.
You know what was weird though? The older Reams, right? They had that coffin style condenser that was super service friendly, and then they had the cube style where everything was jammed in that.
Yeah.
It's like the
Yeah,
opposite.
yeah.
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 And the package units are the same way. They had the rectangular one where everything was super easy to get to, and then they have the cube ones that I just hate.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The key ones, you just take the door off and throw the start kit in and shut the door real quick.
Just throw it in there like a grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a booby trap for the next guy.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, the capacitor, remember the capacitor went through a hole they drilled in the panel. So if you didn't get the exact same circumference one, there's like literally nowhere to mount it in there.
Yeah.
You're like moving stuff around, and I had to do it on one the other day, and I'm like, why do they do this? I even bought a round one, and I was hoping it was the same diameter, but nope.
Yeah. I feel your pain on that one. Yeah.
Tech tip: I found the little plates. That's like the little metal plate to take the smaller one on supplyhouse.com.
Yeah.
It's a
There's
ream.
no place. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a ream
Yeah.
part number.
Really?
Yes,
Those are really cool.
and they're very common. Mars fits it really nice.
I didn't know they sold baffles and stuff to put different capacitors in there. I just had cut something out of sheet metal.
Yeah,
Know how to do
Ream,
it.
I used to
That
make
it's
them.
hard. That's not easy though. I mean, what do you got?
No, it
Like, gonna
sucked.
use? Yeah, you're gonna use a hole saw.
You'd have
Yeah.
to use You'd have to use offset snips.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
golly.
Trace,
was
trace
offset.
Bet that
the
looked choice.
capacitor. Trace,
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I mean-
if you know how to use 10 snips.
I get paid by the hour.
A 3-inch unibit.
You gonna do like a 2-inch hole with 10 snips?
I like it. We say
With
a
offset.
3-inch unibit. Is that out there somewhere? I'm going to get me a 3-inch unibit. That'd be awesome. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
I guess you could take the. I guess you could take the box off and turn it upside down and kind of, if you had time, probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, because the older ones were the same way. Didn't they have a whole cut and you just
Yeah.
stuck down through the bottom of
Yeah,
it? So you had the
yeah.
same problem. You could like bombs away. Whoop. Oh,
Yeah.
too small.
Now the
Yeah.
turbos fit that hole. If it's the bigger one, that fits
Yeah.
that perfectly.
So now we got to buy some $50 capacitor.
Or buy that little $3 plate.
Is that what they want for
I guess the $3
$3?
plate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use turbos? Anybody use turbo capacitors?
I have one for backup.
Yeah, just in
Yeah, I have
case, so
one.
odd size.
Yeah,
I've
like the
never had-
Lennox. Except
I've
they
never
don't
had-
do good for that, I don't think.
Or
Like
What's the
when you
problem?
need like the
Oh, the super
like a
one, right?
10,
The X.
like you got to get the X one. Huh?
I
Do a
used to keep
60/10
one as
or
a
something.
diagnostic tool,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
just to run units and then
Yeah.
see if they would run, and then be like, okay, you need capacitor,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys put them on and they come back and put another come back with the factory one, but I've never had a problem selling one. Like when it's 100 degrees out, forget it. Just stick it in there. I'm good.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
they obviously don't value their time.
yeah,
Yeah, who
yeah,
comes back? I mean, I heard that too. Like, I come back and put the other one in. It's like,
I
yeah,
don't
who
even
comes
have
back?
yeah.
I don't even have a capacitor on my truck, so
Oh,
me.
you're all three phase.
Johnny Three Phase.
No, I don't have a single contactor or motor on my truck either.
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's
What?
funny.
Why
Eric's
not?
actually not in the
They
field.
don't want me to have it on the truck
Huh.
Why don't they want you to have it on the truck?
because, well, I don't use enough of like the same parts over and over again to justify stocking them.
Mhm.
Man, I would think like a contactor would be nice to have. Contactor and like just one of the multi-run caps or something, just in case.
I would think so too. I might get a couple contactors, but I mean the capacitors are just not. I run into them, but not like super, like you know what I mean. I'm working on a lot of three-phase stuff, so
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
How
Yeah.
many capacitors do you stock, Joe?
I
A
used to
lot.
have every size.
Yeah, yeah,
I have 3 of all the common sizes.
yeah. It's funny and then you have all these capacitors, and you go out to your truck like, oh, I don't have that one. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I gotta get that one too.
Yeah,
That's your Linux right
Yeah.
there. It's like,
Yeah.
where's my 70
Yeah,
slash
yeah.
7.5 at? No, I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
find
yeah.
it.
You end up putting 3 capacitors in the unit, and one of them's a dual cap
Yeah, yeah.
You got like
Just
all
to
these
get a-
wires. Yeah.
compressor and condenser fan running. You got a dual cap in there, and you're not even using it for one side, and then you got 2 other ones doubled together to get a compressor and a condenser fan running.
That's a turbo. That's how turbo was born.
Exactly right. Just stock only 5 microfarads and just keep stacking them together, and stock some 7.5s to get the.
And,
That would
and-
actually probably
and
last
the
a long
reams. You're gonna need threes. Stock
Yeah,
threes
threes,
and add
yeah.
the threes up.
Yeah.
Those are starting to go away. Though. I have the
Threes and
3s
twos.
on my
Threes and
45/3s.
I remember when they used to have 4s.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
they have
Fours.
they have
Fours,
two
yeah.
two threes, 2s, 3s, and 4s are pretty. They're actually more common than you think, especially if like you look at refrigeration, small refrigeration condensers. They'll have like 2s and 3s and 4s on those little motors in there.
That's interesting. There was twos on the some of the draft motors on some of the package units. I remember. Amanda.
Yeah.
What if those turbo capacitors, like the big ones will last longer if it's like, let's say it was a 35.5, because it has so much volume that would run cooler, it would last longer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But, I find a lot of them that are testing bad too. So, I'm not an AMRAD hater, but at the same
Right.
time, I'm not an AMRAD fanboy just because those turbos, I'll check them and it's like, about 5 years.
Right. I don't
Test
think
it
it
and
lasts
it's
any
like,
longer.
oh
Well,
man,
then-
this 25 is actually at 18, and it's
Then you just put another jumper on it.
sometimes
Bring in some more capacitance.
I'm not
That's why they
saying
last so long.
Jump
I
it all
don't
around
do
till it's
that.
all
I'm
up.
just saying, I thought they were supposed to be the best, but that's when Zach said the combustion air. That's the only time I've ever run or put them in series was to try to make that 4.
Listen, Adam
think I
says a
put-
2, 3s, and 4s and
I
6s
think I
for
put 2
inducer motors.
7.5s in series, but wouldn't that make 4? Close to it.
Yeah, it makes something like it's about half.
Mm-hmm.
What I remember.
I don't remember the formula. I know you can look it up, but I don't.
Yes.
Well, it's easy when it's
I
two
think
of
I
the
might have
same.
done it.
It's
Let me check
half.
I think I might have done it once, but it is good to know if you need to do it.
They actually say that really makes them last a long time.
Well, it should. I mean, it's a huge
Thank
oil
you.
reserve and
Right.
heat sink or whatever.
Yeah.
So like if you needed
So-
a 40, you use 280s.
When I started, the capacitors never failed. They never failed. You never
Yeah.
carry capacitors.
Yeah.
The ones with the oil in them and all that type thing.
Well,
Huge.
Stuff never broke in those units. I mean, you got original
Yeah.
motors and everything.
Oh yeah, yeah,
It's bad for business.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Very
The,
bad.
the capacitors don't
Coils.
bother me as long as it's not under warranty.
Coils never leaked.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, they didn't. The evaporators, they last forever, ever.
You pour bleach right on them for the drain line for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember just finding a handful of leaks in evaporators before, just where maybe the tubes rub together type thing. But not nowadays. Every if it's leaking, it's the evaporator. The customers call, ran good for 8 years. Now we need refrigerant. It's the evaporator, 410A. 2000. We put it in 2008. You check the bottom of it, or you check the evaporator. The pan's all oily. The return bends are dark. You're done. Haven't had too many condenser coil leaks though. Knock on wood.
Goodman.
Never had many of those.
Yeah.
It was Goodman though. Goodman was the
Oh, did
culprit.
they?
Goodman by the top of the coil.
Yep.
Oh, really?
That's where I see
Oh,
them a lot.
absolutely. I can confirm this story.
Wow.
Yeah, same spot on a lot of them.
Train's good for condenser coils leaking too.
Yeah.
They've
Really?
perfected that art.
Where they come together, or where do you see them leak?
Is it the bottom row?
I've seen several different places, but usually it's the bottom
Where the
where the
tubes come
lines
through.
cross under it.
Is it
They
where the
tried to fix
aluminum and
that
copper
spot.
come together?
Sometimes there was a fairly new unit. I changed one on the other day. I'm trying to think of where it was leaking. It wasn't the usual bottom row. It was like one of the middle ones, surprisingly.
It's weird.
It's almost
But
like
I've also seen like the bottom row, the aluminum itself leak, like just for some reason, just in the middle of the aluminum. Like you start loading up bubbles in the spine fins, and then you start seeing it bubble out because you'll get a leak detector hit in that spot. I think that's what it was on this last one. I could see the spine fins in one spot were all oily. So, and it wasn't anywhere near a connection, and I just started spraying bubbles on it, and that's where it was leaking.
It's pretty
Yeah, I
good size
fixed a
leak.
lot of those just
never
by
saw that.
bypassing that whole bottom row of a train unit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
remember
showed me
you doing
I've done it.
that. You
Mhm.
did that
done
on
it a couple
YouTube or
times.
something.
I do. I'm gonna do that Monday on a unit. Or
Did you bypass a couple circuit or two sometimes to get them going?
Yeah, all
Yeah.
the time. I did that a couple of times this summer
Yeah.
on
Yeah,
evaporators too.
Was it
It's funny. People think you're crazy when you tell them that. When you could just take out the bottom row, like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. Change
right.
out your unit.
Yeah.
Let me go get my proposal for him.
I give them the option for sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever counted rows in a tube and fin coil and pulled a U-bend, a couple U-bends off and bypassed a section?
No,
Yeah,
I've never,
all the time.
I haven't done that
One
yet.
bit me this summer though. One bit me. I'll tell you guys, it was a Lennox, an old Lennox, and I was gonna do that because I've never seen them cross over on the back. Like if you look at evaporator coils, all the U-bends go straight down from the top to the bottom. I mean, it never fails. Like I said, I've never seen one cross over, but this Lennox, it crossed over.
There's other ones that do that because I remember scrapping off
What?
the coils and see them all jumping the different rows, going from like row 1
Yeah,
to
but
row
that's
2.
always
That's
on
what
the
you're
front.
talking about?
No, that's always on the front.
I don't remember what side is on. I remember seeing those things. But yeah, you're right. It wouldn't take place on the back. I don't remember seeing them on the back.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
usually
probably because
never
it
on
was
the back.
an odd number and they had to go left to right.
Something, but man, that one bit me because usually when I cut it, it's not easily put back together. So
That's a bummer.
now you lost 2 rows on that coil.
Your sears are dropping heavily, sir.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
you
it's
got
cold.
Yeah, I mean,
Was the compressor flooding back after you chopped out 2?
no, because I didn't totally chop them out on these. I think I didn't totally remove the whole circuits. I cut the feeder tube, and then I cut a U-bend higher, and I put the feeder tube back in above the leak. So I left most of the circuit active. I think one I did chop out a good maybe like 4 passes to get rid of the leak site on that one, just because the way it was circuited. Interestingly enough, on that unit, it still kind of ran high superheat, like the valve wasn't quite perfect on it. Not crazy high, just like maybe 20 degrees. I thought it was going to be maybe feeding that circuit a little. That was going to be my compressor cooling circuit, but it didn't really seem to matter a whole lot. It'll bite you sometimes. More on a vertical unit, you can start to drip condensate when the condensate's running down and it hits that dry spot.
Right.
I did a carrier slant coil, and then I had to go back and I had to put a little piece of like a plastic drip shield to kind of like block off the whole bottom of it because it was dripping off like that. But I mean,
You
talk
guys
about
ever
dripping.
have-
Okay.
I was gonna say, you guys ever have that problem where a coil doesn't, where everything looks fine on it and you didn't do anything weird like that, but you have water just dripping off the middle of the coil?
Yeah.
Somebody told me a trick years ago. It doesn't always work, but it works a lot of the time. You get like dishwasher rinse aid, like Jet Dry.
Yes.
Put it in a spray bottle and you spray
Yes.
it all over the evaporator, and it'll keep the condensate running down the coil instead of falling off.
Yeah, it's funny because I had a downflow coil that was leaking. I watched it leak, and I read something online where they said just clean the coil, has oil on it, so it's beating up like Armor All. So I cleaned the coil with soap, and it went away. And the leak was gone. It was beating up and then blowing it off the coil, kind of like what you're saying.
It's a good tip right there. I've had a couple of them do that.
Answer to Matt's question is yes, you can certainly bypass the bottom. If it's a heat pump, it really doesn't matter. It's just a subcooling loop.
Yeah.
What they call it.
I've never called it that before. So
It says in their little diagram.
Man, subcooling loop.
Yeah, I think on train, I think they
I mean,
they call it
taking away effective area doesn't help anything, but it's not necessarily gonna.
Yeah, it's not like a not work. I've never had it, But then
depends
again,
on
I'm in
conditions and
Florida.
everything.
I'm not in somewhere that has a lot of freezing rain because ice can do crazy things to coils. I've seen it. Just pictures of it, like pushing the tube shut and stuff like that.
That's true.
So in the heating mode, it is actually sending a warm liquid back from the indoor coil. It's going around the bottom of the condenser coil before it hits the expansion valve to kind of keep the ice from forming at the bottom of it. So, I guess you could have some problems in those kind of climates by doing it.
So what unit are you talking about?
The old school train ones, the metal ones, the big like XR12.
The big heavy deals.
Yeah, the big heavy deals, the newer ones, same thing.
And okay, you're saying that they had
The plastic
a
base
loop
one.
around the bottom? I've never.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so the metering device, they go in there and have
So-
I'm trying to remember seeing that personally.
Yeah,
I
so-
don't remember seeing it.
Like it comes. You remember how it has a one-way TXV for the outdoor valve, and it has that pipe coming off of the distributor that goes to the check valve. Do you remember that?
I remember the
little
check
pipe.
valve. I know there's the one-way valve.
Yep,
I'm
the
trying to
check
remember
valve
in my
coming
mind.
off the distributor of the TXV, and then that goes down to the bottom of the coil, goes around the coil like 2 or 3 times, and then it goes to the liquid line service valve.
This is seeming a little bit familiar. I'm trying to go through my mind here after changing those TXVs. That's interesting. I've never noticed that in all these years. I've
never paid attention either. I'll have to check it out.
I mean, it was just me trying to, like someone said, why not just replace the coil? Because I'm here right now and I can fix this. I can have you up and running without a freon leak in a couple hours. I mean, and these are older units. I would never even price a train coil for a 1997 condenser or something. That'd be stupid.
Might not be able to find that. It might be like, we don't make that anymore, man.
Correct me if
obsolete.
I'm wrong. If you had 2 pinch off tools,
No,
Wait,
then
you
you stop the flow.
then you'd stop the flow.
Yeah, you got to bypass it. You got to
Yeah,
like
you could
cut
get rid of you could get rid of another row with 2 pinch off tools, not the bottom one.
Do you think
they're all in-
pinch off
they're all
tools
in
are
parallel.
100%? See, I wouldn't trust that to be 100%.
I used to use pinch off tools. You remember the ream coffin units with the resettable high pressure switch that would leak all the time?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I used to put a pinch off tool on that and braze it shut without dropping the charge out of those. Turn that
Okay,
leak
so you're just
I-
talking
I
about
did-
to
pinching it off, bracing
quick-
it shut
quick
without dropping
repair.
the charge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
exactly.
I had the pinch off tool with the 2 wing nuts on it. The block. Yeah, that works pretty. That's 100%.
I thought Eric meant he just pinches off the tube and walks and says you're
Yeah.
fixed.
You know, another thing you pointed out, Joe,
Exactly.
that on the package units, how the high side, low side, the high is always the top one, the low side is always the
Yeah.
bottom. That's some. Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got that.
I have 2 of these right there for some
Yeah.
reason. I have no idea.
Yeah, what else you got over there? You can send
All
us
sorts of stuff. You need a guitar?
Yeah.
I've used that pinch off rerounding tool to change a high pressure control on a unit on a roof where there was no 110 volt power because there was no
Really?
other way we were doing it. So I pinched off the high pressure switch and it was leaking and brazed a new one on and rerounded it.
Huh.
I think it works pretty
That's
good.
cool.
From what I
Yeah,
can
it
tell,
does.
it cuts off flow completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've
I
taken soap bubbles and checked it before.
I got the vice grip pinch off tools to pinch off the suction line on a heat pump when you're not sure if it's the reversing valve or the compressor.
That's interesting.
Dum dum dum.
Yeah, there you go.
I like that idea. I mean,
Yeah, because
interesting.
You're
you're
done
gonna
anyways.
yeah you're gonna have
Yeah.
to do something at some point, right? So pinch off the suction line ahead of the true suction port. And if your suction pressure takes a dive, then you know your compressor is still good. But if with that tool though, it's not I think I need to get a bigger set because it's really, man, it's a pain in the butt to get that thing. It takes a lot. You got to pinch that thing down like
Yeah, I would think
crazy to
so.
really make your suction dive because even if it has a little bit of a gap, it still doesn't seem to affect it a whole lot. But
Huh.
yeah,
this thing goes up to 1/2 inch. It says.
yeah.
Yeah,
I got the
Mine
vice
just
grip
closed
ones,
this.
and that they're spread open so far. You almost need a second set of pliers to start the process and then get it from both ways. So
I wonder if they make a bigger pinch off tool.
yeah, Brian still makes fun of me because I used to say pinch off the discharge line, and what that would tell you is if the compressor would go off on the amps would spike, the compressor would go off on internal relief, and you would know. But he said I'm insane or something for doing that, and it's very unsafe. So then I thought, well, why we could do the suction line, and
On recips, I usually used to just pull them apart and then see if the compressor was pumping. If it's pumping, the compressor's good.
yeah,
You know, that
But-
would be for too.
you kind of need to know like what you need to order and what you need to like quote the
Yeah.
you know.
It's easy. You just order a compressor and a reversing valve.
Yeah, there you go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's a reversing valve, it may or may not be much cheaper potentially.
It's tricky sometimes because the reversing valve, they jam just a little tiny bit. There's a little opening that it's going to bypass.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you think it's shifting and it didn't.
yeah. So I want to get that. I kind of want to get. Have y'all seen that Uniweld tuning fork made for reversing valves? The
No.
Brazing tip.
Oh yeah.
No.
You have, Zach?
Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't been able to use
You
it.
haven't? Yeah, I want to order it and try it if I ever have to do another one. But yeah, because I had to do a ream reversing valve on a 2020 unit this summer. It was leaking from the base where it goes into the valve. So those are upside down. So you got the big tubes at the top. So I just took a sawzall to the top of the valve.
And just cut it.
Just took a saw because the stuff's going to go down, and it's fine because I got the discharge line, off first.
Everybody freaks out about that, but it like you say, the chips are going to be down. Then you just pull the other ones
and then
out.
I got about that far of the copper. I'm still going to remove.
You can use tin snips as well.
Yeah, that works good too.
I couldn't, man. I don't know. Maybe my grip strength's not what Eric says for
What
something.
What size was it?
7/8.
Oh, 7/8.
It was 1/2 inch.
I don't know if I've done tin strips on 7/8.
You got
I
to
just
probably
couldn't
crush
get
it
it.
with pliers first.
It was a
Yeah.
mini split.
Yeah, I
wasn't it,
did.
Jack?
I
It
had
was
to
a mini
crush
split.
it. I just it was like this thing was some thick copper on that valve.
But
I just couldn't get it, and I
what
had
I,
the
what I
bulldog snips and everything.
what I always do is instead of trying to braze those in place is just get the pipe orientation out and either usually there's somewhere you can unsweat really close or you
Yeah.
can just make another fitting because some of those to try to braze them in place is just not
Oh,
even
yeah.
worth the trouble.
Well, this
Right.
one was it was quicker to do it this way,
Yeah.
but the thing that bit me was trying to get all three pipes hot enough to get that valve back on. That was
I usually take the tubing
You unsweated
expander.
the whole valve?
nope. So I cut the valve with a sawzall, and then I
Oh, to get the
unsweated
new
each
valve
stub.
in.
Yes, when I was getting the new valve
Well,
because it won't go on. I had to start heating up all three, kind of moving my torch back and forth to finally get that valve to
no,
go.
just sand them.
Mm,
Sand them until it goes in there, and if you have a big glob somewhere, file it off,
yeah,
and then until that valve
Yeah.
slides in.
Get your little Dremel in there.
but if I had that Uniweld tip, it's like got three little flames to hit
It does
three
all of
pipes
them
at
at the
once.
same time.
Yeah.
It sounds
trying
like
to
you're gonna
find it.
burn a hole in that thing.
Well, I probably wouldn't use that to braze it, but I probably use that to get the new valve on the pipes.
I've had the best luck just sanding them until they slide
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
With sandpaper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see it.
I've done the
It doesn't usually take long because they're not off by that much unless you got a big
Okay.
glob somewhere.
I've done
If
the
you do, that's-
expander. The
Then you could
expander
even
with-
heat it up and just try to get the glob off first. Huh?
or file it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done the expander, put some electrical tape around it, kind of like over expanded it a little bit, just so it slips in there a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a good trip too.
Yeah.
So here's your tip, right here.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it is. Will you order that for me, Zach?
8 flames.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nah, I don't think we need this.
I
See
just-
that the base is flexible. It said too, because that's what I was like. I was like, I'm not gonna be able to get that in anywhere.
I just use a turbo torch and get in there.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with a turbo torch?
I'll braze that thing in there like there's no tomorrow.
Braze
You
a
could-
wide area. I'm gonna braze the
You
general
might set the
area.
unit on fire.
Exactly. Then that helps. Then the unit's putting BTUs in it for you.
Yeah.
I just try to light the pine straw at the bottom on fire to give a general heat while I'm working.
It's like, was this unit black before? Oh yeah, yeah.
No, it's more black now. I'm gonna show you the one I had. This one, trying to show you. This tip right here. I had this
Oh,
one
yeah.
for brazing around the sides of them, and I had another variation of this one that was the captain's hook that just kind of wrapped around the piping so you could braze all sides at one time. It was helpful.
Did you like it?
This one right here, I did use it, but what I ended up doing is the way it comes to you, it's I kind of bend it to the shape that I wanted and used it that way. It seemed to work pretty good because some of the spots it would allow you to run the solder around real easy.
Yeah.
It was very helpful. But I mean, it was like 1% of the time that it was useful. But it was
Yeah.
real useful that 1% of the time.
There's times where it's like, oh, I could use that, but then I have to walk back to my truck. Let me just hit it real quick.
Yeah, let me try it the original way first, and then like, oh, I got it.
Well,
Okay.
That's like I use the turbo torch and what is it? I think an AA tip or something like that. I'm supposed to be brazing with like a little tiny tip. Forget it. I'm just gonna use the big tip on everything.
That's what I use. I use a rosebud tip on everything that's for 1.5 inches.
Yeah. We had one of those
Just
too.
like
That
on
didn't come
3/8
around.
copper, it just instantly heats it up and you just dab the solder and you're done.
And I'm going to bring that up too.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the rosebud. I don't know. I have
you
one.
used
I
it?
like it for yes, and
It's great for
use it.
unsweating.
yes. That's what I was gonna say. I'll use it when I'm unsweating a compressor, but other than that, I just like the good old number 2. Heavily used tip when you dropped it, and it kind of like feathers the flame out a little better when they're brand new. I almost have to like
I think I have a number 1 or 0 for dryers, but
see. I don't. That to me, I don't like the little tiny stream that's like shooting out that far. So I don't. I just stick to number 2. Turn the volume way down.
So baby flame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, here's a question for you, fine gentlemen. What pressure do you set your oxygen acetylene on? When you're typically brazing, like you're brazing like 3/4 inch suction line, and
7 and 15.
7 and
7 and
15,
10.
7 and 10.
I'm air settling, so I just turn it on.
Although for the last couple years, I have the what are they? The Western brand or West Tech. You can't adjust them, so I have no idea what they're set at.
Oh, I never.
Huh.
You can't adjust them.
No,
I thought this dude said it's supposed to be 10 and 10 because I ran them way higher. I ran oxygen closer to 20, and then
yeah, it
acetylene at
doesn't
10.
really. 10 and 20 is fine. 7 and 15, it's not
Yeah.
really that big a
Yeah.
difference.
You just
Another thing, another trick, and I see people have this problem with their torch handles a lot, is if the handles on your torch handle are really sensitive, underneath is the packing screws, and if you tighten those a little bit, it'll make more resistance and the knobs, so you won't be
Yeah.
like way overshooting what the adjustment you're trying to make on your flame.
Yeah, that one I figured out. Yeah, that one was I got to the point where I couldn't even hardly turn them. I was like, okay, I need to loosen this up a little.
In the hallway of a customer's house, full of settling going off. Whoops.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
sometimes
man.
sometimes if they're that loose, you could just bump your handle against something while you're brazing, and it turns your torch off or just
Yeah.
drastically changes the setting.
It
You
goes
just have
way up.
a big acetylene fireball, and getting soot on everything.
Yeah,
I have to do that to tanks sometimes when I get a new Excelion tank. It seems like they tighten that packing nut down so much you're about to strip.
Yeah.
You're
Yep.
just about to strip out the little nub.
Yep.
So loosen up that packing nut some and then tighten it back down once you get it broken free.
You know what
Nah, I
bothers
like to
me
I like to
is,
snap them off and then send them back so that they learn from their mistakes.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah, but what do you do when that's your only spare?
Then you go get another tank. Say that dang spindle snapped.
Yeah.
Eric's paid hourly. We can
That's fun. Hey, you know what? That's a good question, especially for Dallas. Dallas, all the years you never wanted to start your own company.
No. It'd probably be out of business within the first month. Yeah, I'm mostly just I just like working out in the field. I don't like any of that paperwork or any of that stuff type thing. So
Yeah.
I just like going to jobs and it's broke, go fix it. So I never really had the desire to own my own company. I get overwhelmed like really easy type thing. If it was a business, then working on a unit, I couldn't do it. I'd freak out. So
You're wise.
yeah. It's hard. It's hard because where I used to work for before, my boss would always, towards the end, he'd take a lot of vacation, so I got a taste of it, what it's like. But I've never had my own business or anything type thing.
I think you're a pretty wise guy, Dallas. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're like me, except I made the wrong decision and you
Yeah.
made the right decision.
Yeah,
That's nice.
I just rather work on the stuff. I don't like any of the business part of it.
Yeah.
Type thing.
I dig it.
I'm too nice of a guy. I'd be giving everything away.
That's the problem. Yeah.
It's too high of a price. Okay, I'll lower it for you.
I'll pay for it.
Yeah.
This one's on me, guys.
Yeah.
You have a baby.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. What about you, Eric? You didn't want to start your own chiller repair company or something like that?
That's not like outside of the realm of stuff I've considered. It's just not something I've pursued at this point.
So
I've
why
been
not? It's been 20
told-
years. It's almost too late. You got to hurry up.
I've been told by some people you're better off to go in as a businessman than somebody who's actually knows about doing the work. That it's just easier because that's essentially what you're doing is being a businessman, especially if you're trying to have lots of employees. So,
It's you're
having
not
all
wrong.
the responsibility yourself to be the to be the businessman and the field tech is kind of a lot. So it's just not something I've pursued yet. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. I've never ruled it out. But you get comfortable just doing the work.
Another wise man. I was talking to Zach from Quality HVACR last week, and he's the type of guy. He's like, he wants to start a company, and I asked him. I said, Zach, what are you going to be doing 2 or 3 years from now when you got all these guys? He says, I'm going to be playing golf. And I was like, okay, all right, well that's the plan right there. But then because you and Dallas were talking like the same sort of thing. Then I looked down at Joe and said, Joe's a technical guy, but he started a business. So, Joe, how are you going to be different than these two gentlemen who are wise?
I guess I'm the idiot. I don't know.
You would be unwise. No, for real. Like, what are you going to do? What's your plan?
Well, so, I know Zach and I know Eric and everyone, believers in God, and I don't think I would really. I know I could do it without faith, without my faith, but God just always blesses me, gives me exactly what I need. I mean, it just happens time and time again. So it's really, I'm just trying to say I've got to give the credit to the Lord for blessing me. And also I broke my back in 2013, and I just, the doctors told me.
Well, you made Eric leave the show.
Yeah.
You're like one of those Jehovah's Witnesses.
He's a Satanist. So.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Go ahead, Eric. I'm sure he had technical difficulties or his water heater exploded.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But if I knew that I could do the work into my 50s and 60s, then I probably would just be a one-man show, and still own my business, but just not really try to grow it. I'm not going to try to grow it to, even 10 employees or anything like that. But kind of almost like the Zach guy was saying, if I had like one install crew and one service tech, and then I was, still in the field and stuff like that. But I think that'd be about the perfect size, just simply because I don't know that I'll be able to physically be installing units into my 50s and mid 50s and stuff like that still.
Well, that's a legit reason to go your route. So that makes sense.
It's good to have like Joe's saying, like just a crew service guy, maybe a couple crews, because you quality control. If it gets bigger, it gets out of hand.
Yeah, and I don't really I don't get like some of the business guys. I mean, they really enjoy the business side as much as we enjoy like a really technical problem where you got in there and you figured out something that no one else could figure out. I mean, it's fair to say we get a high off that. Yeah. And I don't for the business stuff, but I've learned some of it, and it's like anything in life. You just bite at it in little chunks, and then all of a sudden you look back and you've come a long way. Obviously not like perfect by any means, but you kind of have it a little figured out. But we could talk about this upcoming like Inflation Reduction Act. I don't know if
what a segue.
If you guys have heard about that.
I have heard about it. I don't think it's going to reduce inflation.
Let's not talk about it. It might induce inflation for us HVAC guys. We're going to be like, Joe Biden's giving us all the money.
Well,
is he giving us money?
Don't worry, we're draining the strategic oil reserves to keep gas prices down until the election, and then gas prices to the moon. So enjoy that.
Oh, that's short-sighted. That's what they did before. And then they dumped a few million gallons out of that thing. It's like, hey, we solved the problem, and then 20 minutes later, it went back up again.
Yeah, gas prices out here are going up again. They're like,
God forbid we actually need them. But.
yeah. I mean, that's what it's for. It's a strategic oil reserve. Yeah.
Strategic oil reserve, aka release them to the public reserve.
Yeah.
Use them to influence my poll numbers.
Yeah.
Use
Before we
taxpayer
get-
money.
yeah.
Use taxpayer money to influence my poll numbers because who bought all that oil? Who bought all that
Yeah.
gas?
Dallas
But I
is
think we're
distancing
getting-
himself from the political
Oh,
conversation.
Yeah, I
Dallas
got
looks like Joe Biden right
yeah,
now.
I got my Joe Biden glasses on.
Oh, they really
You're gonna
are.
get-
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
You're
When
gonna
I
go
was,
get your chocolate chip ice cream.
yeah, when I was working with the guys, they're a lot younger, and they were joking with me because they were calling me Joe Biden because I'm slower, type thing. But
Mhm.
I was laughing. They were just joking with me, type thing. But yeah,
Dallas
You
is
got-
like,
You gotta tell them no. I'm way more like Hunter.
yeah.
They're like, cool, man.
So I was wearing those on the job. It's too funny.
You should just ride up one day on your bike and just fall over.
Yeah. There you go. Trip up the stairs.
but no, I'm serious. Like, I need to find some more. I need to find some more guys to hire, like right now, because they're saying they're going to be giving certain people, if they hit a certain income bracket, like $8,000 towards a new heat pump.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Yes. So
Wow.
people are going
I
to be
wonder.
like,
I wonder if the cost of the jobs is going to go up by about that much, like the electric vehicles did.
well, I mean, that their whole thing, and for some reason the
Did Nancy
government thinks a
Pelosi
heat
invest
pump.
in AC equipment recently?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, well, like the lowest
Her husband
income,
did.
lowest
her
income
husband.
gets 8,000. The next bracket gets 4,000, and
That's a
then the
tax credit,
highest
right?
earners get. It's actually a cash. Each state is going to have their own. Each state is going to have their own like way they do it, but a lot of them are just going to do a cash rebate to where either the customer gets a check or the contractor gets a check. But I mean,
Yeah,
Neat,
I
I'm
just
buying a new AC. Oh, I mean, you guys are buying me a new AC.
yeah, but, like no one's going to want to fix anything.
There won't be any equipment. The joke will be there won't be any equipment available to buy.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because you
is
can't get
it-
it now. So whenever they actually start using
Yeah,
it in mass,
The
then
new
definitely not.
the new Sear 2 equipment won't be avaavailable, so you'll get your
Right.
$8,000 for your unit you can't buy.
And see,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
we
your-
don't know
and your-
exactly what SEER level, because each
And your
state is going to have
$5,000
their
off
own.
your EV you can't buy.
Yeah. Out here,
Well, and,
they're
and if you're in California, you can't even charge it.
out here they're taking out because where I live it's all gas heat pumps for like condos and stuff, but they're taking out gas heat and putting in heat pumps. And these people
How-
are used to their gas heat. You wait till they turn that heat pump on this winter, it's gonna get good.
Yeah.
Well, wait till there's no electricity.
Right, exactly. There's none
Yeah.
now. Everybody's having
Yeah, that's exactly
generators in the
right.
backyard.
Yeah. The gas heat feels
Hey.
so good, but my electricity during this 15th brownout this week is
Yeah.
really
Hey, what-
a downer.
What did communists use before candles?
I don't know.
Electricity.
Yeah, yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
'Cause it's true, probably.
I don't get it.
They ruin stuff. They ruin stuff.
Well, look at California. The grid doesn't work now, and they're
Right.
just electrifying the grid. Did you see? It was a while ago. NorCal was posting about how all the state buildings were ordered to run their generators because the grid was so unstable. So it's like they're going green by running every generator in every state and government building.
Oh my god.
Take
Oh my
a
The
diesel
God.
grid can't
generators.
handle it. Yeah, they're just running all their diesel generators to try to offset the grid demand.
Oh my god.
That's the funny part about this whole thing is, like you see this like commercial where this lady is plugging in her electric car, and then at the other end you see like the big dump trucks hauling all the stuff to make the batteries, and then the oil and the coal and stuff to power everything. It's kind of funny though, right?
What,
Yeah.
what was it? There was that silly thing recently, and they got called out on it, and they're like, "What are you charging this electric car with?" And they're like, "Well, the grid here is 70% coal."
Yeah. Enjoy your coal-powered car. That's,
Yeah,
that's
I
what they
mean,
should call them.
yeah,
People will be so
right.
conflicted about liking them.
Actually, I've heard that coal plants are like the cleanest burning the way they have them now. so regulated and stuff, you can practically breathe, stick your face over the exhaust pipe off of a coal plant and breathe it. So it's not really that bad.
That can't be good though. I mean, really? That
I'm
doesn't
not
sound like
saying
a
I'm
good
not
idea.
advising you to go do it, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, well, it's like nuclear power. Nuclear power doesn't make any pollution. But I mean, if the reactor explodes, don't fly over it.
Yeah.
You'll die. I watched Chernobyl on HBO. That's where I come up with this stuff. But for real though, there's no pollution to it as long as it doesn't
Yeah.
blow up, and they're not going to blow up these days. You know.
The craziest part about the Chernobyl plant is it's still in service. That's just the one reactor that blew up they stopped using. Like, they still use that plant.
Do they still use that? I thought they had to
Yeah.
cover the whole thing in like a dome of something.
No,
or-
just that reactor.
So they built that dome over that one reactor, and the other ones are functional. I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, that was the
That's interesting.
craziest thing because I was researching it. At least at the time I researched it, which was like a couple years ago, because people were talking about it. I'm like, oh, let me read about this whole Chernobyl thing, and it's like the rest of this plant's still in use. It probably still is too, because it's only been a couple years since I read that. I think it's in Ukraine, right? So
Is
Yeah,
Chernobyl
well-
in Ukraine? Huh.
it's
I don't even know
is
where
it right on the
Chernobyl's at.
border?
I can't even answer.
It's like in that area. I don't know if it's on the Ukraine or the Russian side, but I thought Chernobyl was in that area.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out where Chernobyl is. HVAC Chernobyl. Well, that's not very
Yeah.
helpful. Oh, yeah, it looks like it is in the Ukraine. Yeah, interesting.
Is Hunter on the board?
And they want that country back.
Yeah. Well, it has access to a port that doesn't freeze, so that's kind of good for them.
Yeah. Good old Russia. We're all out of
And-
stuff. We need stuff. Shoes.
I like how Europe is virtue signaling by not buying gas from Russia, natural gas. So China's buying the natural gas from Russia and selling it to Europe at a highly
Yeah.
inflated price.
Oh, jeez.
the price of feeling
So that
good
makes
about
it
yourself.
so much better. Yeah,
Yeah.
pat yourself on the back.
You guys want
Yeah.
to discuss the Paris Climate Accord for a while? What a crock.
No.
It's like, no. We need to talk about air conditioning because of the air conditioning whole
We
aspect
don't
of this show.
live in
It's air conditioning.
Paris. Why
I know,
do
but
I
it's
care
funny.
what
It's a
Paris
roost.
climate?
Is why. We can't talk about it. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do this. Because I got to do like sponsors for this show. Yeah, they pay me too, guys. Check this out. And
Do we get paid?
What's my
Yeah.
cut?
Yeah.
if you wonder what your cut is, this is where you shout out your YouTube channel that I don't think you've started yet. But you
Eric
could.
has a YouTube.
Hey, tell you what, you got 2 minutes here
Allegedly.
to go start one. No, but we're gonna disappear off the screen for just a second. I'm gonna play this. We'll be right back. It's like a minute and a half long, so stay tuned for more Chernobyl. This is the YJack Mano dual port manometer. This is what we have all been waiting for. A YJack probe where you can take your static pressure and check blower performance in real time. Part number 67068 from Yellow Jacket. Take accurate static pressure measurements up to plus or minus 80 inches of water column. Includes hoses, static pressure probes, and adapter fittings. The YJack Mano Manometer 67068. Time is running out on the NAVVAC 2022 Need for Speed promotion. When you purchase a qualifying vacuum pump, like the 2CFM or 4CFM battery-powered vacuum pump, or the NRP6 or NRP8, NP12s, you can choose 2 of these vacuum tools for free. Core remover tool or one of these vacuum hoses. And don't forget to claim your reward. You have to fill out the form. The link is in the description of this video. And remember, if you are purchasing one of these tools, go to TrueTechTools.com because you can save 8% by using the Shop Talk promo code. We have a new sponsor at HVAC Shop Talk, Beckett. A lot of you guys know Beckett from their condensate pumps. They do make a mean condensate pump. We just did a video on those as well. There'll be more on that going forward. We're going to test them a little bit. We're going to see how they perform with a high lift. And I just have a few tests I'd like to run just in general to see how condensate pumps react. But Beckett makes more than just condensate pumps. Overflow safety switches, submersible parts washer pumps. I've never even heard of that. Condensate evaporator pans. But their condensate pumps have a wide range. They know what they're talking about. They make a quality pump you can tell when you look at a condensate pump and you can see the features that are left off. You can see the build quality issues. You don't have that with Beckett. Beckett knows what they're doing. They make a quality product with you in mind. You can find out more at Beckett. That's BECKETTUS.com/product-category/condensate-pumps. That is a mouthful right there. We'll put a link in the description because there's no way that you remembered that. Yup. All right. Wow. Eric left again.
Oh man.
Support the sponsors, Eric. Okay. No, but there was a question for Eric. That's a shame right there. But I have to go a different direction. So, does Joe like Carrier? That was a question out there. Joe, you can answer that.
Yeah, I don't mind Carrier. I would put them above Goodman, above York, above Nordine, way above Nordine.
Wow. What a glowing endorsement.
I'm not a huge fan of the LG compressors, but they're not horrible either. I think they must have fixed some of the issues they were having with them. I like their air handlers, pretty service friendly. I have some sweating issues with their air handlers that I can't ever really figure out how to completely resolve. But
Where's it sweating?
it seems to be like it just kind of gets the bottom of the units wet. And I'm not sure if it's because the drain pan itself is sweating a little bit, because there are water droplets on the bottom of the black plastic pan when I looked at it carefully. But the
Did they insulate it? So I know some
it's
companies
not
insulate.
insulated. No, it's
Oh,
not.
maybe that's it.
Maybe it is, but yeah. So I've got it converted right. I even took the blower back out and took that whole coil end plate back off again just to make sure. I made some splash shields for the condensate dripping off the suction line and the U-bends, because sometimes that'll cause some sweating. But yeah, it's minor stuff, but they're pretty good units. I don't have any problems with them.
That's a long way to say indifferent.
No, it's not indifferent. I would say if I would say top 3: Train, Ream, Carrier.
Wow.
Not in any particular order.
Oh, okay. I got you. Well, here's nothing. Since Eric popped back in here.
So Aeon wouldn't even be in your top 3, huh?
Well, we don't look at Aeons. They don't make a residential unit, do they?
I don't know.
If you want 10 tons.
You got a big residence, for sure.
No.
But here's another question here for Eric. How did Eric get started? Have they work with jack legs? I think that's a Floridian question. So Eric, you can field that question if you like.
What the heck? I'm having trouble understanding the second part of the question.
Hacks. Have you worked with some hacks?
Who hasn't? I mean, if you've been around this industry long enough, I'm sure you've ran into people that are like that. So, how did I get started in this trade? Well, I really didn't know what I wanted to do, and my dad did HVAC, so I got into it. Actually, started out doing supermarket refrigeration remodels and new installs. So lots and lots of running piping, and that was most of the job, is just hanging, running, brazing, insulating, all that good stuff,
Good stuff.
Good stuff.
But yeah, that's what I started doing. I did it for about a year and a half, and then the work kind of dried up in that area. That was in the DC area, and moved to Florida because actually my dad knew another contractor down there who, Florida's always got tons of work, and that contractor did mainly residential and light commercial. So I went from, the supermarket stuff to basically doing residential installs and duct changeouts in hot Florida attics and stuff like that for a little while, until I finally worked my way back into doing more service work.
Nice.
So
Brought in by the family. Joe, if you want, you can go tell your wife to turn off the music.
I think it's coming from me.
Oh, because someone in the chat said Joe's looking for the bass.
At least, yeah, I got a
I was
party.
making sure it wasn't.
I got a party going on behind me right now.
So you owe my wife an apology, Zach.
I do. Give me your address and I'll write her a fine letter.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Dear Joe's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Who went to
I'm
AHR.
sorry. Yeah.
But then I'll be
Just
kind of
dear Joe's
announcing
wife,
that I
I'm
did
sorry.
it. I'm pretty good at apologizing to wives. That's good. I'll be fine. Don't worry. You read the letter too, you might learn a little bit of something about preserving that marriage.
Hey, you better stop it. You home wrecker.
I know, right?
I've been
Knows a lot about apologizing to wives.
absolutely. I don't know how long you guys have been married. I know it's not a long time for Joe anyway. Joe, how long you been married? This should be easy, man. It hadn't been that long.
6.
Really? Has it been 6 years?
Yeah. We're getting old, aren't we?
Holy crap. I thought you just got married like last year or something. Never mind. You should be good at it. You know, I've been married 20 years, and I figure like I could write a letter that she would like be like, "This is beautiful. This is wonderful."
Yeah, well, you're kind of an artsy guy, though. You're like in touch with your feelings and stuff.
Tell you what, man, I can grab this thing. You know what? It's a minstrel, if you will.
You're like, I wrote a song for you, sweetie.
Wait a second. Let me try to clarify this, because there's a thing. You can play guitar and write beautiful things and just not care about what you're saying if you know the other party's going to receive it properly. Is that on air? Holy crap, that was wrong to say.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, well, that's fine then. That's good. Okay. What it means is you can write something beautiful that you know people will think is beautiful, but not actually care about the words that you've written.
Okay.
This sounded really bad. Okay. Dallas, you married? Let me just pivot off of this.
No, I'm not married. I'm not married.
He's looking.
Yeah. I'm still looking. Yeah, no.
Any ladies in the chat? Hit him up.
Yeah.
Well, we are on Christian Mingle, and find yourself a fine woman.
Farmers only.
Farmers only. Is that like a legit thing, though? I mean, I've heard that before.
Yeah, that's how I met my wife.
I'm a Freon farmer.
A Freon farmer. I like that. They's all Freons here. They're all Freons. Put them together in the same jug. They like each other.
Totally catfished her that I was a farmer, though.
Oh, that's funny.
She stuck with me, though.
She certainly did. What I thought was amazed is, when she went to AHR, and I know you said she was only there for like 12 seconds or whatever, but the fact that she went out there and walked around for any bit of time, that's something. Because I know she had to hate it.
She didn't know. I don't think she'll ever go back again, but she was like, a big show? I want to come. I was like, no, you don't. Oh, yeah, I want to come. All right. 12 seconds later. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Where's the keys?
That's pretty legit. I think that's about right. But it's cool that she actually went.
Yeah.
Check it out. And it's been 6 years, so it's not like that newlywed thing where I want to do everything you do. That's worn off, I'm sure. Yeah. No more pretending,
Yeah, but I think she would go to like the symposium, like not like sit through the whole day or something, but just come maybe for a few hours of the day.
So what's the difference between going to the symposium and going to AHR?
Well, because it'd be like meeting, like hanging out with people like Eric and Brian and all the people like that.
Does she know who Brian is?
Yeah, she knows who Brian is. She's met him.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that sounds nice. I was thinking about going to that symposium too.
You should.
I think it'd be
Get
fun.
out
I
of your
want to see
little
AK.
hermit show.
AK will be there too.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you're going to see him is to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he won't answer the phone.
He's actually nicer than he looks. Looks like he's kind of like
He's a very nice guy.
Doesn't answer his email either.
I was actually texting with him the other day. I hadn't talked to him in a while.
You got to purchase something.
You got to buy. Hey, I bought the NAVAC.
It was regarding a NAVAC pump. I had a question about an inverter board for one, but if it was worth like buying another inverter board.
Interesting. Was it?
Well, I don't know. He never replied to my email.
I don't know if you investigated another route.
The mystery remains.
Yeah. Which pump is it? I'm curious.
I think it was the 8 CFM. I didn't break it. I just found it broken.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I was like, can I have a pump that works for, an
The
easy
price of the
fix?
board. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, is this an available part? Is it worthwhile? But
I never even thought about how many boards are in
it
those
will
pumps.
forever remain a mystery.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I
Just
could try
one.
to get my contact at Snowflake Tools and see if they could offer any help with it.
I'd love to know more about that.
Snowflake tools.
Snowflake tools.
Yeah, Snowflake Tools.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, they made the cupcake probes. Tell me you
That's-
don't have those back
Oh,
in the
that.
day.
Do you not? Hey, Eric, you remember when AK first came on the scene here? He made videos that were, humorous, and one of those were the cupcake probes, the Bluetooth cupcake probes or whatever. It's this little
Oh,
kid
that's been
stuff he
so
was
long.
playing with. It was pretty funny, actually.
I
It's
think I
pretty
remember now. It's been forever.
Yeah.
I watch those again every now and then because that's the kind of humor I love. He does it with such a straight face. It's pretty
Yeah,
good.
no, he's
stuff.
very good at that. He's excellent. One of the reasons why I started doing this stuff here on the weekend again is I went back and watched one of these things that me and him did, and Brian was on there. It was hilarious. I was like, I gotta do more of this stuff. This was a lot of fun. Where he brought up like this whole thing about Brian, like being on the 40 under 40. It had Gary McCready's picture on the top of it. We're just rolling laughing. Because it's that weird, awkward. Like I'm competing with his podcast. It was funny, and seeing Brian's face, seeing it was hilarious. It was good times. He can't do that anymore because he's in corporate America.
Yeah,
But
yeah, he's well surpassed that guy.
yeah, that
By
guy's
now.
dead. He's gone. He's gone. But I mean, that's what you have to do, right? Whenever you go work with a big company, that's why none of us work for big companies. I speak for you guys, but I'm not quite sure, what
Eric.
size companies you work
Yeah.
for.
Eric's just being very quiet at this point in the stream.
It's avoiding liability. That's what you do when you just wait
I
for this to
cannot
pass.
confirm or deny the size company I work for.
Yeah.
What's
Somewhere
their
between
name?
1 and 1 million employees.
What's the name of the company? Yeah,
I'm not
All
going
right,
to say
now let me
that
see.
online.
I can.
I'll say it
divert.
for you, Eric.
All right. Well, you know what? I want to get to something. First, I'm going to show a picture of this because it's something I brought up the other day. Because when I talked to Dallas and Dallas said he was coming on, I was like, I got to find a picture of this one thing that he made a video of years ago that I consider the finest air conditioner ever made. This is the picture of it. Right.
Oh
here.
yeah.
I love
Freaking
that thing.
Yeah.
How old is the bottom unit that it is? The tan version.
I think it's 1984 or maybe even 82, somewhere around there.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing
Yeah.
Is that a high efficiency dehumidifier?
That's
Yeah.
what it is, man. Absolutely.
I got that from the Ream factory. They had a coil like that on top of a condenser at the factory, and they said pay no attention to that. Like, what the heck is that thing? And it was running. So I thought I'm gonna try it and see if it works, and it actually works. You get the right pressures and everything. The thing just recycles on itself.
I bet it doesn't dehumidify that good though. I'm just gonna.
No, I don't think it did. Now that you talk about it, yeah, yeah.
Getting that condenser discharge air into that evaporator.
Yeah,
Probably
You
not.
need to put the
Exactly.
coil underneath the condenser.
Yeah, but
I like that Joe's trying to improve this unit. It's like,
Yeah,
we
of
can
course.
make this thing work.
Yeah, we can make this thing 20 sears.
yeah, yeah. That thing, it was an energy hog. I'm like, oh my god, I'm shutting this thing off. It's a good trainer though.
It's gonna have a high suction pressure.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah,
You think?
It was elevated.
yeah. I cut holes in the transition to relieve some of the pressure, so get my suction temperature down. Type thing. But
What
yeah,
was your static pressure?
yeah, I didn't check that. Probably a lot on that thing.
Hey, do you ever have a feeling like you really don't have to check something? It's not worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
Not a
It'd be
reading
okay.
worth taking.
But
Yeah. It's like, I don't think I need to print this report. I think
Yeah.
it'll be fine. Yeah.
it makes a good cheap trainer.
I just for
Some
some reason
the most expensive thing of that was the sheet metal transition.
Yeah,
the labor in making it.
Yeah, because I made that thing and like, oh my god, this is taking too much time. You know,
Yeah.
made it on the weekend. Like, what the heck am I doing?
But what I want to know is like, were you out there like pulling a vacuum, going, "We're waiting for 500"?
Yeah.
Knowing Dallas, yes.
Yeah.
Dallas lives in a climate that has no humidity though, so keep that in mind when we see his like record-breaking low vacuums that he loves to brag
I
about.
don't know what did I pull the other day? Like 21 microns on that Norton
but
unit.
you got to see what Dallas
Pretty
is
good.
using though. He uses this tiny little vacuum pump with a tiny little quarter-inch steel
hose.
braided hose.
It pulls it down quick too.
Yeah, because
I
there's
got
no
down
humidity.
I got down to 30 something, like you're saying, Eric, real low. Like, nobody would believe me, anyways. You know,
I think the lowest I got was 16 microns.
Wow,
Man,
that's pretty good.
I had the opportunity on an install. Like, I just brazed everything first because that was like, the air handler was really easy to do everything else after I brazed the line set in. So I just let the vacuum pump run for like 4 hours with one big hose, and then just to see what it would get down to. Within the first hour, it was down to like 50, and then it took like 3 more hours to get from there to like 16.
Oh my gosh!
And then the coil like collapsed in on itself.
Yeah. The ego is actually smaller.
That's why you got down. It closed it up. You only had to vacuum a certain portion out.
I was on a job one time, and it was the customer's rep, and they were trying to say how the vacuum pump was going to crush a 1/4-inch hose, and I was trying so hard to bite down on my tongue and not do a visible eye roll.
Yeah.
I'm just like, what are you talking about? It's 14.7 psi we're removing. Like, it's not going to crush anything.
I don't know. Mythbusters crushed a tanker train with it.
A what?
You didn't see that one? They made a big tanker train like sucking on itself with a vacuum.
No, I didn't see that one.
It's out there.
It never happened.
I don't know. You're not going to crush a copper pipe by going from 14.7 psi to 0 psi.
No.
Unless
I
it's
hope
like
not,
a
'cause
really,
a tanker
really
train,
When you put
thin-walled.
pressure on it, it would explode outward then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, unless it's a really thin-walled piece of pipe.
Yeah.
It's modern.
It's high efficiency pipe.
High
Actually,
efficiency.
you might have a point with these new evaporator coils. Never mind.
They get
Better
Yeah,
stop
yeah.
pulling.
little
Better
tiny.
stop pulling so deep of a vacuum.
They're fragile.
That's all we needed to hear to stop pulling good vacuums. I don't want to damage anything. 2,000 microns and we're
Yeah, I
good.
don't want to damage
Well,
the
what was the
compressor oil.
The manual I sent you the other day with purge it for 15 seconds on that mini split.
Well,
Apparently,
mini
I sent
splits are
that
the
to a
best.
couple people. That manual was reprinted in 1987, so that building was built in 88. So there's a good chance that unit is that old.
That's amazing. If that's true, a mini split from 1988, that would be amazing.
It looks pretty old.
It does look old, but I was thinking this guy's in Florida, so maybe it's just like close to the water and it's
No,
just
it's
aged quickly.
I'm in Central Florida. It's like I'm about as far from the water as you can be.
Well, but then you start going toward the other water.
Yeah. I'm an
Yeah, you
hour
should
from the
put-
water.
I used to put mini splits in the 80s. Like, they were Sanyos.
That's what this was. It was a Sanyo.
Oh, was it really?
I'll
Yeah.
find the picture now. I got to find the
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah, it's around 80, 85.
Dallas put that one in.
Yeah. That might be it.
Yeah.
That might be it.
That's why it lasted so long. Compliments to
Well,
Dallas.
it's not right. It says in-op on it. It was on the roof I was working on.
Huh.
It's
I
like
just
you
saw
didn't
it
have
over
to
there.
write that on it to know.
Well, you never know. But there's I was working on a Train Voyager that's on its 3rd condenser
Yeah,
fan motor
there
in
you
as
go.
many years. I'm like, don't know what's
Wow.
causing motor number 3 to fail that many times, but
Is it wind blowing it backwards?
I don't know. It was my first time out there, and they said that, one of the motors had been changed already, and it happened to be the one that I replaced again. I'm like, okay, well, I told them about it.
'Cause I had one that it always burned out because it would it was a carrier, like a 20-ton, and then when it was shut off, the wind would blow the blade backwards, and then when it turned on, it keep going that same
Stay
direction.
backwards.
Didn't have enough torque.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one has 4 fans, and that one's been replaced 3 times, and the other 3 are original.
Huh.
Wow, that's weird. Huh.
That is weird.
So I've never used one, but I know they used to make fan brakes on there, so they wouldn't rotate backwards.
I've seen those. I noticed on this one though, Train's using open motors, and they put that plastic shield.
Oh yeah.
And whoever put the last motor on didn't put the shield very close to the motor.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it was just getting tons of moisture in there when it would rain.
Yeah. Or they have that crack on the top of them when they push them down. I wonder if that happened.
They're using open motors for the blowers too, and apparently you have to set the drives to always be running current through the motors to keep them hot, or else they earth fault and the whole unit goes down because of moisture.
Huh.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Why is my motor hot when it's
out
not running?
X13s and stuff so much more than static pressure does.
Huh?
That's my theory on why X13s fail, and it's not. But a lot of people blame it on static pressure, but I feel like it's more that moisture.
I think it's the moisture too. I
ingress.
agree with you.
Yeah.
I think the higher the static pressure actually helps those motors because they run a little hotter. So
Yeah,
that's
I
my
do.
To keep
mad
them dry?
scientist. Yeah, it keeps them drier.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's not the voltage supplied to these motors.
I bet that does too, as well.
Because the motor's rated to be a 208, 230 motor, and you're running it, the power company's giving you like 240, 250 volts.
Talking about X13s or the motor that you're at?
I'm talking about residential. You know, it's the equipment is rated to run on either 208 or 230, and you rarely have that. You usually have like in residential, you have like 240 something, 250 something, and it's just not good for electronics. I bet if you put, because people have been doing it with the outdoor units with the inverter boards, putting buck and boost transformers and bringing that voltage down to about 220, and the board failures go away. But if you did that on an air handler, you'd stop seeing those failures. But you know, how much would that transformer be?
Well, you just have to do a separate one for the. You'd have to isolate the heat strips.
Yeah, you'd have to. Yeah, you wouldn't want to size one for the heater. But
You know what they call why the X13 is called the X13? What it stands for? It's experimental 13 series. Because the 12 series didn't have X13s in them, so I learned that in class. So that's what it stuck with me all this time. So experimental 13 series, what that is.
I never knew that. That's interesting.
Yeah, because that's all they did.
Well, why isn't it E13 then, Dallas?
E13?
That's experimental
is it?
Starts with an E.
There's probably
why is it
I don't know.
instead of TEV?
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Is it like the X-Files?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Because when they had the 12 series, all they did to make the 13 series just put an ACM motor in the blower.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah, they
13
did.
Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then the magnets fell off.
Yep. Dallas will glue them back on.
Yeah. Exactly.
Problem
Get that
solved.
3M weather adhesive or whatever it is. Put it in there. That'll work. But I love ECM motors. Why is
They're
this thing
great when they
locking?
work.
Yeah. Oh my god. But they do run cool though.
Yeah.
Like you're saying. When you touch them, they're cool.
They're almost like in our climate anyway. They'll be, and two, like let's say you've got a good old piston unit, and the unit's running. It's getting nice and cold. That blower motor's getting nice and cold, and then it shuts off.
Yeah.
And all that warm liquid freon just keeps on going into the evaporator, warming it up and making almost steam, start to kind of come off of it. And now it goes right and condenses on that motor.
Right. Yeah, you see water all over those motors half the time. You go
Yep.
up in the morning or something like that before it's working, and it's all condensating all over the motor.
So
I mean, like
because they don't hardly fail in furnaces.
No.
The train plastic cabinet units.
Yeah.
I
They don't
can't
have much fan
remember.
control. Yeah.
I can't remember ever changing I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure, but it's definitely not at the rate that It fails when the blower's downstream of the evaporator.
I never remember that either. I don't remember ever doing one.
I remember when they were first coming out, and they said that's the reason they did it.
Yeah.
Was to avoid fan failures.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It just annoys customers with loud fans.
Yeah. It makes it 100% louder.
What's saying about customers?
It's getting pretty late over here, so I'm going to have to hop out of here.
What are you talking about? We're in the same time zone.
It's only 8 o'clock over here.
Yeah, it's past my bedtime.
Dallas got 3 more hours, Eric.
Yeah.
You said you were going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm here.
You want to get paid?
An hour chat, and we're at like an hour 45.
I don't remember saying an hour. Did I say that? I shouldn't have said that if I said that. I probably did
an hour.
Yeah. You're getting cash back now.
Yeah, you get 2% off your next chat. Okay.
2% off? All right, cool.
Promo code Shop Talk.
I appreciate it, Eric. I thank you for coming.
It's been fun. I'll see y'all later.
All right, see you later. These guys
His arms is probably getting tired from holding
I don't know anything about commercial anyway, so I mean, you might as well go.
Yeah. Commercial's too big.
I was gonna like zoom in on Joe because I saw Joe was yawning like 15-20 minutes ago, and I know the show is ending soon. But I just wanted to get him right in the middle of one where it like zoomed in. Went.
Are you gonna do that on the? Don't you dare do that on the edits.
I would. You know what? I would never done that unless you didn't just say that. I would never even have thought of it. Like I want to search through like 90 minutes of footage to find your yawn.
Don't worry, I've got some real bad dirt on you that you don't want me to post.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to know what it is. I want to know what if it's legit or you just made it up.
Everyone knows.
Yeah. Special announcement.
I found the laptop.
You look at my yeah. So if you check my browser history, I'll just respect whatever you want.
Yeah.
I respect your wishes.
I'm gonna be like, Beckett.com. This is not what it's turned into. Zach is lame.
This isn't Beckett.com at all. So let's see what we can do. I had like all this stuff. You know, I want to talk. Let's talk about Dallas's thing because you did send me an idea. Let's wrap up with Dallas's thing about the filtration. Now, why?
Yeah.
So, why don't you explain what are you talking about?
Well, you know, like back in the day, they'd have the bottle cap filters and everything, and double roll evaporators. Static pressure wasn't really an issue, but now I see a lot. You know, with those evaporators have four rows, and then you got the MERV 13 filters that have to be in because of COVID. So like my static pressure is just on the jobs I go to is out of sight. So I'm just wondering, like, if Joe runs into this problem too, probably not on his job. So what do these guys do out in the field? These customers are complaining, like, I got no airflow. I got no airflow. The filter is not made for that unit because we've taken air conditioners and turned them into air cleaners now. So it wasn't meant to be an air cleaner. So the statics are off the chart, and all the compressors are sweating, low suction, low airflow. So I was just wondering and you ask the counter guys, and they only sell MERV 13 filters, 11, 12, 13 filters. Like, what is the industry doing? There's like a blind eye to this, type thing. Even when the packaging has come, they'll come with the basic filters, but the packaging is people are stuffing the 13s here, the MERV 13 filters in, and the units they're icing up now. The filters have to be changed more frequently because they're loading up. Customers complain that the filters are too expensive, but it seems like the industry's turned a blind eye to this situation. So I was just wondering if anybody else has had this problem before.
I can tell you personally that I put in a system years ago that was communicating. It was a Mana, and I started it up and everything was good to go. But I got a call that it wasn't working, and it turned out that they had taken the filters I put in, which are just regular fiberglass filters, and replaced them with pleated filters, and it jumped the static up enough where there was a code on the communicating system, and it shut it down.
Oh, yeah.
It was significant. I mean, it was like 0.3 worth of static added by those filters. So it was significant.
Because I used to see static like, 6, 7, then you see 8. I'm seeing them over an inch now. And 1.2, 1.3 on these air conditioners, and the customer's like, it runs fine. Like wintertime, it's gonna be challenging with the heat pumps and stuff. Trying to explain to the customers,
Yeah, a
here's
lot
your
of whistling.
problem. These filters are no good, and then you can't get filters because they don't sell them anymore. They're like the bottle cap ones, type thing. But
Yeah.
I was on a heat pump the other day. It's a 4-ton. It had a 12 by 24 with a pleated filter in it. And then I talked to the customer. And he's like, yeah, they had to lower the fan speed because this thing was so noisy. I'm like, oh my God. And they could easily cut in 3 more returns on the thing, make the thing perfect. But the guy says, no, I like it like it is. And like, okay,
That was the only return?
yeah, yep. And,
Good grief.
and I showed her the return, like, see how it snaps? See how it snap, snap, snap?
I bet it snapped hard.
It did. It's not supposed to be doing that, but he didn't want to fix it. I could make his performance better. Even on the supply grills, I was working with another gentleman. Like, okay, I'm gonna pull the filter. How's it blow now? Oh my God, it blows so much better. But the
That's
customer,
incredible.
the customer doesn't want to fix it. He's gonna end up losing his compressor. Type thing. So
So that's 336 inches of space
Yeah,
according to my
yeah.
calculator, and you need 800 for
Right.
a 4-ton unit for a filter grill. Anyway,
yeah.
that's crazy.
So, yeah, and then with the pleated, it's even worse. So,
Oh, absolutely.
do you run into that now, Joe, with service calls you go on?
I mean, I see it, but I've kind of always have. We're in the land of flex duct and
Yeah,
120 by 20 grill, whether it's a 2.5 ton or a 4-ton. People generally don't think about it, but you can be so, not necessarily sloppy, but things can be so wrong and still be okay. It's almost like it's going to
right.
take some with these new SEER units, it would take some sort of government mandate to change things, in my opinion. Either that or the equipment starts to shut down, like Zach was saying. Throw an error code, almost like your car when you have a check engine light and you have to go get your government inspection, and you have to fix every stupid little problem on your car to get the stamp.
I think that's what's going to happen. Something
It's
like that.
probably in our future, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
luckily Florida, we're still use R6 duct here. You would think Florida is gonna be, it's so hot here and use air conditioning year round. We would have stricter codes, but it might be one of those gray areas. I just know in my part of Florida, you can't even really buy R8. I actually wanted to get it for a job one time, and it was like no one even had it. So
yeah. R8 does make a difference too. Definitely on the, especially on longer runs.
I mean, it probably does, but yeah, we're just not using it. Not that I'd be opposed to it, but I wouldn't be looking forward to working with like 2-inch ductboard.
Right. Oh yeah.
Because I guess that's what it would be.
Do they actually make 2-inch ductboard?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Or is it? It might even be more than I know. R6 is 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because I've done it on long runs, and you can totally tell a difference. Especially when the unit sits for a while and it has that regain that heat, and then you turn it on and it comes out hot for a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
It takes care of that.
yeah, I think that's the time I wanted it. It was a return that I was upsizing, and so the velocity is going to be a lot lower, and it was all the way across a brutally hot attic. So I'm like, I want a couple bags of 16 R8 for this. You know what I mean? And yeah, literally, no one had it. So
Yeah, out here they have the they got the gas heat, but they're changing out and putting heat pumps in. And a lot of guys the returns are too small with the pleated filters, and it's just like pulling the water out of the pans on those things, big time.
Yeah. And I mean, not all pleated filters are bad.
Right.
It's just the
they're all bad.
You just have to work the job around them.
yeah,
Thing,
and that's like when we did a couple. We were doing some new construction custom homes, and everyone else around here does, because there's a code in Florida, return in every bedroom, and most companies would just do unfiltered returns and just do a media cleaner at the unit, but we would do like filtered returns all throughout the house. So you'd have just these people would kind of be like, there's so many filters in my house.
Yeah.
But and I would kind of tell them, yeah, but it's nice. You can only change them like once a year.
Yeah.
Because if you laid them out, it would be like a 80 by 40 filter or something.
Yeah. You probably get some good static out of this because you got so much filter.
Yeah. It was really low. And
it's probably a good idea, like you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like, it may be better than a media cleaner in that circumstance. But
it's funny. I went out to this job the other day, and these people are complaining that their units are making noise. Older couple, and so I went inside their house and went up in the attic. When I went up in the attic is what is it? York. It was a York, and it was like the installation was like immaculate. And I'm looking at this installation, and like something catches my eyes. Like, oh my god, it's like perfect. I can't believe it. And
I did it.
yeah. And I'm looking at, and it says it's like there's wires like caution marked, like in the caution, where to step and all this kind of good stuff. And I'm looking at it like, God, I think I know who put this thing in. I'm like 35 miles away from my house in a town that I never even do work in. And wow. So I asked the customer who put this in, and my neighbor did. And really, and I measure the static, and it's like perfect on it. It's like 0.5 on a 5-ton. And so I'm looking at it. This is like going on for like an hour type thing, or not an hour, but when I was there, and like, man, I think I know who did this job. And so I need more information. Then I go look at the line cover. I'm staring at it like that looks like my cap that's on there. And it turns out I call my buddy, like my best friend that I got into this business when he was like 20 years old. He's probably like 50 now, or no, almost 50. And I call him up, explain the job. Did you put that job in? Yeah, I did. Like I knew it. But it's kind of weird for me because it's like a town that I hardly ever go to. It's just a random house to me. But the cap that's on there is like the one I made, because I used to make them a special way. And then and he says, remember I told you about that job in 2006 because I didn't want to do it. Like, oh, I remember that. Because he went to work for another air conditioning company. And that the air conditioning guy just got him that job, but my buddy put that job in. So he has all these codes stamped out, like all these little sayings. And then I sent him pictures and he decoded them for me. Like, yeah, that means there's a can light underneath there. Don't step there. But it was like kind of funny though, just especially when I saw that because I used to make caps for the line covers, and so when we're doing jobs, you can just put a cap on top instead of telling the guys how to cut it and everything. Just put the cap on top, put the screws in. But yeah, it was pretty funny though. But
yeah, that's how I want people to be, but I know they never will, because most guys in our trade, they don't ever give credit to anyone.
No, they don't.
But it's like, what? Huh?
Were we supposed to? I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
write that
Right.
down.
I'm
Take
good.
notes.
Give
Be like, you talk to guys in supply house. Oh, you went to that house? Yeah. What did you think? You didn't see like everything was
okay.
perfect. I do work like that all the time.
thermostat
No, you
level.
don't.
yeah, exactly.
No, you don't.
because you really don't see when do you see like quality jobs like they're really nice like
I
really good
don't
jobs.
see.
Yeah.
I always use that as a measure to drive my pricing. Like as soon as someone says, I go up and I'm like, man, that is a really nice job. Oh yeah, so and so did that. It was only $5,000.
Yeah.
Man, maybe I am overcharging.
Yeah.
But
No, I'm fine.
yeah, as long as I see like, original plenums, cap and flap with mastic smeared all
Yeah.
over it, and
Right. Original registers.
Yeah.
They change the registers out, stamp registers.
The styrofoam blocks just shoved under the unit, like.
Yeah.
Oh, was that bad? Hold on. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this stuff, but I did start going to the styrofoam on some jobs lately because Unistrut got to be like. I had this.
Expensive.
Yeah, I had the supply house bring me some. I was like, okay, and yeah, throw a sticky Unistrut on there too. And I looked at my bill, and I'm like,
$35 a stick.
They tried to charge me like $70.
Oh, really?
Like,
for two?
No, for one.
That's the bad part. It was one.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like, guys, this must be an error. Oh no, that's not an error.
It's like you go to Lowe's and get it cheaper.
Yeah, there's no wholesale, in my opinion. Like, there's no wholesale in this world anymore. It seems like all the supply houses are just charging us retail.
Yeah. It's not on that stuff, because I've compared that with the Unistrut in particular. I mean, you might as well go to Lowe's and get it for a lower price.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I remember I was just like, I remember when I started my business. Sounds stupid, right? Or started really caring about pricing in 2018 when I bought the business. But yeah, I was like, $19 for a piece of Unistrut. I'm sure Dallas is like, when I started, it was $6.
Yeah.
30 cents back.
I remember when the refrigerant was $30 a jug for 22.
Yeah, so like Performance HVAC is saying in the chat, those blocks, about $2 each, and I use 2, 4, 6, 8. So I use 12 of them per job because I stack them 2 high and 3 deep.
Wow.
So I was like,
a 3 deep, like one set in the middle, or
okay, of a big air handler.
Yeah, right. Yes. No, I totally understand. That's why I was asking.
Yeah. If
you go lengthwise on there, right?
Yeah. Where them doors come together, like there were some train air handlers back in the day. If you didn't like support it properly, it was like none of the screws. Like, how can the screw be like a half inch away from the hole now?
Yeah, I've got one of those, Zach. It's suspended up above a false ceiling, and they just did the real cheap 2 Unistruts on each end.
Right on.
And it's the train air handler that's like bolted together in the middle.
Oh yeah.
And like, I am deathly afraid I'm gonna be working on that thing, and I'm gonna be the one to just make it like split in half and come out of that ceiling. I mean,
you need to break the whole place.
It's like it's stretching. It's got about a gap about like that at the bottom.
Jeez,
I believe it. It seems like those things were about to just split in half every time I saw one. It's like, I don't know, man. They were in the crawl space, like half of it was rusted out. It's like, this sucker's coming apart today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't take the doors off, I'm afraid. Like, the doors might be the only thing holding this together somehow. Even though all the screws line up in the middle there. They were bad. TWE, as I recall.
Those are good air handlers, man.
No, they are good, but the support in the middle is a good idea, too.
I don't think I've seen those before.
Yeah, you have.
I bet you definitely have.
Oh! I was thinking of TW. I was thinking of the zone ports, the EWC.
You are Joe Biden.
Like, what the heck? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Train, you say?
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and plus to use those styrofoam blocks, you almost need to put a piece of plywood down. So I didn't like them too much from that standpoint either.
Yeah, we don't use styrofoam blocks out here. I've never seen them before.
But I'll see guys just, put the styrofoam blocks right in the middle of a pan with like a couple trusses going underneath. It's like literally the pan is the only thing holding that air handler. You see what I mean?
I didn't
Like if-
understand this, but
Okay.
now I understand because
Yeah.
to me, with having no plywood underneath the drain pan would be nuts.
Yeah.
I can't
Well,
even
no.
imagine doing that.
Well, I do it all the time because I'll put the pan with the let's say the wood is going this way, and then pan down, but then unistrut going the other direction.
But you're still kind of supporting it anyway, then, right?
The pan's
Since you're
supported.
pondering
The
it, I'm
pan's
kind of
support-
wondering what you're
Okay,
saying.
no. I'm trying to say the pan is supported because it's sitting on wood. I mean, it's not going to buckle or anything because trusses are only 20, 2.5 on center or whatever they are, 24 on center. So it's not like the pan's going to buckle in that area. But when a sheet of plywood was
don't
like
know.
80, huh?
I don't know, man.
Come
Pans
on.
can be there for a long time. I've seen some pans.
Not
Probably use
anymore.
plastic
The
pans,
galvanized pans that they give us these days are garbage.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
are garbage. There's not really galvanized anymore.
Right, they rust out like a heartbeat.
And I'll almost like a really nice old pan that's got no rust in it. You're almost better off to leave it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Don't touch
sad.
it. I don't know. I still put plywood under all of them. I couldn't just set it on some trusses.
Yeah,
I feel like logically it wouldn't buckle and fall, it being what it is, but I would still put it underneath there because I could see a slight dip. There would definitely be a slight dip in it.
What are you trying to accomplish? I mean, a slight dip, yeah, but it's gonna hold water and fill up and trip afloat.
Yeah, maybe.
What's the
Maybe
problem?
that float's gonna break. I'm
Well,
worried
see, we
about
capped
time. I'm worried about time and the effects of time on it. That's what I'm worried about.
Okay. So you think that pan's gonna be there for like 60 years or something?
No, I think it's going to be there for maybe 20 years, though. I think it could happen. I think okay. Let me lay it out. Let me lay out a feasible situation because no, it's not going to just all of a sudden go. Oh, well, metal sucks. I can understand that, but I can also see that someone works on something and they lean in on the pan, so suddenly the side gets leaned in slightly. I can see that happening over time, and then all of a sudden it buckling down. And then it filling up slowly and then dripping out the side or something like that. I can see that happening.
Yeah, but you've got like trusses going underneath it, and it's not like some giant pan that's like out in the middle of the attic with no
What size
support
pan is it?
anywhere.
27 by 48, right? That's what his pan is. It's a ream
I,
unit.
no, I usually get the biggest. I don't get like a 48 pan for a 42
30 by
unit.
72.
Yeah, that's a little big, but
It's furnace
I
and
do
corner.
usually get like a 2662 or something like that. Like
Okay.
the bigger the better, in my opinion.
Yeah. Room to spare is good. I like that. There's some units I've seen out there. I don't know what it was, but it was like always Goodman units for some reason. There's like a 1/4 inch from the edges of the
Quarter
pan.
inch.
I was like, I don't know about that, man.
Yeah,
a lot of times these are full of water.
Yeah,
in
the
my
unit was
experience.
49 and they get a 50-inch pan.
Exactly right. And the unit's froze up like 3 years into its life for fill in the blank reason. The coil probably leaks, I'm just going to guess. And then the ice packs on the outside that it drips out the outside. And it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why that happens. Just get the
But
wrong
actually-
pan. It's like, I don't want to get another one or something like that, probably. We don't have time to go back, buy another pan. Not you, Joe, just theoretically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try to
Well,
think how bad contractors think.
Well, I don't know. It's like so much the contractors think that. I think it's more like just the scheduling. Like these poor installers, they have to be done with this one today because they have another one to do tomorrow.
yeah.
And there's no there's no coming back.
No.
So
You're right. There's a pressure component to it. I think. you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
To
on these
me-
bigger companies, they really pressure those guys. It's got to be done today.
It's got to be done today
Yep.
because you got another one to do tomorrow, and you got
Yeah.
another one after that, and
Yeah.
another one after that.
Yeah.
And the funny thing to me is always like, and customers usually don't understand it, and even maybe when they do understand it, they'll still go with the other company because they're cheaper, but they'll maybe think like, oh, your prices are high, you're ripping people off. Like, no, actually, for what you're getting, the other company is higher than me and ripping you off because they're going to be done by like 2:00. and they pay those guys like $15 an hour.
Yeah.
If I had a couple $15 an hour guys and I'm gonna send them, just let them throw that piece of equipment in there, and I got better margins than
Yeah.
Joe, who takes 2.5 days.
You're
to
right.
do it,
And
you
then
know?
you call that other company back, and they don't come back because now you're into their pocket, so they're not coming back.
Or even if they do
Yeah.
come back, you're
Yeah.
now getting a slightly more educated service tech.
Right.
You know,
They can't fix anything because it wasn't done right the first.
yeah, and he's
the
not
first
going to throw
place.
his company
Yeah.
under the bus.
That's right. He
Yeah.
can't admit anything. That's a tough spot
Yeah.
to
Like,
be in.
yeah, you know, these
Yeah, they
These
really screwed you on
coils
this
just-
job.
these compressors are just failing left and right on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can't predict this, man. Yeah.
Good thing you got that 10-year labor warranty, so
Yeah.
it's covered.
I got to come up with a repair that allows us to fix everything we've done wrong and somehow make it justifiable sounding. Like,
Yeah.
I bought you guys 4 hours. Fix all this other crap while you're here. You know?
Yeah, so I mean, that would be my thing. Like we were talking about the business thing. Like if I did have a couple installers, to really just give them the freedom to always like be able to slow the job down a little bit, come back again tomorrow. But you know,
Yeah.
That's what my last job is. What my boss gave me the freedom to do that. You know, if it's not done right, we just going to go into tomorrow.
yeah. Or if you have something
Yeah.
tomorrow, that's fine. Just get it up and running, and we'll come back and
Yeah.
and tidy this up. You know, some things like a drain pan, it's like, well, you know, it's gonna be really hard to put this drain pan in if I like go to step B, you know, because
Yeah.
that's step A.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's like,
when I did the interview for my one job, that my new boss asked me, he says, who does all your warranty work? And I said, we don't have any warranty work. And I was being truthful. We really don't. Everything, if you do everything right, you really don't have much warranty work. You know, little noisy compressor here, or I don't like the thermostat there, but if you do the job right, you don't have that much warranty work. So,
yeah,
That's true. You cut down a lot of it. I guess
Yeah.
that's the point. Cut down
Yeah,
a
because you're in
lot.
total control. You're in total control of everything.
Yeah.
So that's probably with your company, Joe. You probably don't have that much warranty work. Quote, you know, because everything's done. You know.
yeah. I try to because I give my
Wow.
units 3 years
Yeah.
too.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Truthfully.
I mean, you don't have that. You know, the condenser. I wish I would have put it over here, moved it over there. The line cover's kind of crooked here, and
well, you know, I'm always critical of myself, so I am always kind of like, oh shoot, you know, I didn't see this, or like I'll change my mind and wish I had done something a little different, but it's like it's smaller things typically, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do 3 years on all my new systems, so if anything breaks for 3 years, and that includes Freon as well, so you know,
Yeah.
that could really bite me if all of a sudden Ream, you know, or Train or whoever had an epidemic and I'm doing a bunch of coils for free. I might
Oh yeah.
have
yeah.
to like second guess my warranty policies, but I guess
Yeah.
that's just a way for me to kind of put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. I'm telling the people they're going to get a better install and a better system and better long lasting, but you're not going to put your neck on the line any more than Joe Blow down the street is, because you have to give your units a 1-year warranty in Florida. But you know, if you just like, yeah, it's gonna be better, but I'm not gonna stand behind it
Yeah.
anymore. But
3 would be good. 3's a good.
Yeah.
you know, I was like going back between 2 and 3, and I was thinking to myself, you know, let's say 2 years and 3 months goes by, and like the leaking reversing valve that I had to put in, I probably would say, you know what, I'm going to cover this for you. I just want to keep good customer relations. I'm going to cover this for you. So if I'm going to do that anyway, why don't I just say 3 years? You know what
Now
I
you
mean?
made it
And
3
then
years and 3 months now.
no, I'm not. No.
Are you really? Can you draw the line now?
Yeah, I really feel comfortable because it'd be like I'm just thinking today, like if I went back to a job that I did in 2019, I feel like enough time has passed to where the customer is going to be, they'll, and obviously some people are like, you just put this in. I get it, but that was 2019. So I feel like,
Yeah, I remember that one. You just put
I
this
feel
in
like
7 years.
yeah, I know. You just put a unit in. That was 2004, and it was my first year.
Yeah, I literally have had people say that. It's
Oh,
like,
I have
you just
too,
put
all
this
the
thing in.
time.
It's like it's been 8 years.
Yeah, and
Put
then
that
they
unit
go.
in.
Yeah.
Then they go look at the invoice like, oh my god, what happened?
Yeah, the
Mhm.
date's on
And
the unit.
yeah,
Here.
and the older I get, shoot, like
Would they fight with?
2014 doesn't seem like 8 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's right. You gotta check.
Be like, I just got this thing on you. Yeah, it was 8 years ago. Oh my gosh. But
Time
Yeah, when the
flies.
customers fight me on that, I just read the model number off or the serial number off to them. Like, what? That's what it says.
Yeah.
in
Customers are
performance,
funny.
that's why I don't do extended warranties. Simply because they don't pay enough.
Yeah,
And so if I'm gonna sell someone an extended warranty and it costs me, let's say, $400 for the policy, I'm gonna sell it for like $1,400 because I'll be danged if I'm gonna take a loss on having to do a compressor or a coil or something for 10
Yeah.
years. 10 years is a long time. Okay. So if you want an extended warranty, I will do it, but I'm going to do just like insurance companies do, and I'm going to assume a loss.
right.
And
Won't
you're
they
just
pay
going to,
you? Some of the companies pay. You sell like
they don't pay,
Good Assure or something like that. They pay you per hour.
nothing. They're
Well,
going
it's
to
not
pay
a
you
lot.
like,
They
they're
pay
going
you
to pay you
something.
4 hours to change, 3 or 4 hours to do an evaporator coil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be like $80 an hour. Oh, whoa.
And they're gonna give it to you 6 months from now. Yeah.
So, obviously there's some good ones and some bad ones. If I knew of a great one, then I would probably sell it. But, most of it's very, below 10% of all the units I do could have really needed that extended warranty. And I do tell people that they exist. Most people don't seem like they are even interested in it. I'm not doing a hard sell on it, but I am letting them know that extended warranties do exist for this system, just like a car, a TV, refrigerator, whatever you buy. I let them know most of my clients don't need it, but if you feel more comfortable knowing that for certain you won't have to spend a repair in the first 10 years, then this stuff is available, but it is expensive. And I'd let them know it's, $1,200, $1,300 typically.
I never like this.
And so
I don't.
a lot
trust
of people don't say, I am really interested in having that.
That's
them.
crazy.
I don't know. I mean, I just don't trust it because if they sell it, that means they're making money off of it. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the point of it. So if they're making money off of it, how good can it really be for the person buying it?
You mean the warranty policy?
Yeah, I mean the extended warranty in particular. Like these extended warranties, like whenever you go to the store, you're
Yeah.
like, would you buy the extended warranty? I was like, no, I don't want the extended warranty because there'll be a
I bought it on
stipulation
my
that I don't
dishwasher,
follow
though.
anyway.
I bought it on my dishwasher because even me, who could probably fix something myself on this dishwasher, but if you look up a control board, it's going to be like $200, so it's like, yeah, for $130, I can have a 5-year plan or whatever. So yeah,
Man,
I will buy that the way things are made these days.
that's fine. You enjoy American Home Shield, then fine.
No,
Did I
but
connect them
sometimes, I
properly?
mean,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Like, it's a numbers game for them. They're hoping you don't need it. And yes, I could have taken my $120 and kept that away if I need to buy that control board. And guess what, if I didn't? But Lowe's actually has a plan where they give you 30% of that back if you don't have a claim. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, they give you like 30% of the policy back if you don't have a claim. So I thought, well, that sweetens the deal even more.
You know,
That's pretty cool.
honestly, whenever I get like your example is dishwasher. So
Yeah.
typically when I buy stuff like that, it's the simplest versions of those. I don't really buy stuff like I don't have Wi-Fi
Yeah.
refrigerator stuff. So like my dishwasher did break, ironically, like within the last month or two. I just fixed it because it's a really simple machine, really
Yeah.
cheap to fix. So it might be
Yeah.
different for me than it would be for you because you might be facing a much higher price. So that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. We did get a nice dishwasher because we use it a lot, and I was tired of having dirty dishes after it ran. So it was like,
Would you get
Which-
the Washertron 4000?
no, it was
the Bosch.
it was no
The Bosch.
no, absolutely
Yeah,
not.
it was the
Dallas.
Bosch.
Absolutely not, because Bosch
You've been in here
appliances
now
suck.
since we bought it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've always hated Bosch appliances, so maybe that's why
I've always
I have such an intense hatred for Bosch now that they've entered the HVAC field. But
Oh my gosh. Dude, if I would have thought about it, and I wish I had, and next time we do this, I will, I'll grab comments that are on that Bosch debate video that you and Ralph did several years ago, because the comments are so awful.
the comments were awesome. They were like, "Joe's killing it. Joe won. Joe's."
That's not the newest comments. I know. I realize when you release a video, or really like back in the day, if I would release a video, there would be like people who like to watch a particular person. Like Dallas would
Yeah.
understand this. You'd see like 10
Yeah.
or 15 people comment right after the video is released.
Yeah.
And they would typically be positive comments because they're people who followed you every video
Yeah.
you did. But then later, you'd start getting the comments from the other people. It was like, here's
Yes.
all the things you did wrong and why you are bad.
Yeah.
Was
those
it
would- those are
Was
they're
it
great.
some ones on me?
Oh yeah, like you and Ralph. It's like it's everybody. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's. I should have drugged some of them up because a lot of times it's just idiotic. It's funny, and I
Yeah, but who
I
was-
literally remember Dallas on his videos talking about some of the commenters. I wish I could remember, but it was something about the dryers or something like that, and a lot of times it was about the distance from the house.
Oh yeah, they
on
always
the
say,
Ream
yeah,
units.
yeah.
That was
It's
always
all in the
funny.
manual. It's in the manual.
That thing's
You know?
half an inch from the house. It's like,
Yeah, yeah,
dude, a
yeah.
whole screwdriver is fitting there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was pretty
Yeah,
good.
RJ was always had my back on that.
Yeah.
And I ended up being right. So who could
Yeah.
say? I mean,
I remember that when that came out, and then the whole Bosch debate, and you were right. Then everybody was tearing them all out, like, oh, I'm tearing mine out.
Look what you did, Joe.
but I never was debating that they were going to be bad for humidity, because I didn't know enough. I didn't know anything about them. I just knew the premise didn't make sense.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's what we were talking about, how a couple alterations would make it like really good, but
Yeah.
then you're essentially making it into like one of the communicating machines almost
Well-
by doing that. You're going in that direction.
kind of making it, again, like I was saying in that video, you're kind of making it just a fancy single stage unit.
Mhm.
You know, because if the fan always stays fixed and the compressor can ramp up quick enough to get that coil temperature quick enough and then shuts off, explain to me how that's different from a single stage unit.
I feel like this is actually an excerpt from the video.
Yeah, exactly.
It
And
is
then Ralph
exactly
would
what you
say,
said.
well, Joe, I have a customer who says,
I solved
the
the Bosch
best thing.
problem. I can tell you how to solve the problem. You just don't change your filters. If you don't change
Yeah.
your filters on the Bosch unit, and this is legit because I just changed my filters after like 7 months or something like that, and they're pretty dirty. One of them was really dirty. That Bosch was dehumidifying beautifully because because that air was cut way down, and then I reached a point where you reach that not the plateau, but intersection between its ability to dehumidify and its ability to keep up sensibly. And it was no longer keeping up sensibly, so I was like, all right, got to change the filters now and start the process over again, where it'll be too humid, then work its way back down to that line again, then we reset again over and over again. But it does work. But there's no possible way to set the airflow low enough because I'm already the lowest possible setting.
hey,
Permissible.
will that unit freeze up even if you like jumped red to yellow, but you
I
still
was
turn the fan
just
off?
going to ask that. I was just going to ask that. Will they freeze up?
Or will
That's a good question. I think it ramps down to nothing.
I
'cause
know.
I believe it came up a long time ago, but I haven't confirmed that.
You should try it at your house. Do an experiment.
I should try it, and I will. Yeah. Okay. I'd
Will
like to see
you
that too.
post the results?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll post some
um,
results.
Yeah, because I was on one
Or is
where
Bosch still a sponsor?
it was
Bosch is not you know what, honestly, here's my opinion of this situation is Bosch wanted to meet again to renew the sponsorship, and I passed on it because it doesn't work. I mean, it'd be kind of hypocritical to come on there and say, like, you need to get a Bosch, just not one like mine. It's the same thing. Yeah.
That's funny you're asking about the Bosch high up, because I was on one where it's a zone system, and when zone shuts down, I'm like, this thing should ice up, but it's not icing up. So I was wondering if a Bosch system would ever ice up because it's getting the suction temperature. What would happen if it just ramped lower and lower and lower?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if I don't know, I guess it would depend on what's the minimum ramping speed that it could
Yeah.
accomplish. So if it
Yeah.
could go low enough where it's essentially like one of these refrigeration units where it just has like a cold band, it doesn't have any blower moving across it or something like that.
Mhm.
But I don't know if it goes that low. But
Hmm.
you know, we can find out. I mean, we can see. RJ did say that Raritan finished the argument whenever he bought a dehumidifier, and I had talked with Steven several times about the machine. And he could never get the CFM low enough to do the job either because he lowered it down to like, good grief, it was like 2 tons. It was like 300 CFM. It's about as low as you could go. That still didn't work.
You just got to run that dirty filter.
Yeah, I know. I should have told him the secret. You know,
Yeah,
get a piece of
yeah.
cardboard, Steven, cover up
Yeah.
the filter. We'll ramp
Yeah.
it down to 0.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, it should. It should ramp all the way down to nothing just to try to keep it from getting too cold on that line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's a good experiment. I'm gonna try that. I don't know because it's not a it's a X13 blower, but I don't think there's anything specifically in there because it's not like a smart device. The air handler anyway. There's nothing specifically that's going to make the blower run just by energizing yellow, like it would
Right.
if some other blowers
Yeah.
might run on energized on yellow or whatever. But yeah, I think it'll work. Give it a shot.
Yeah,
I'll
or like
find
the latest and greatest thing people are talking about now is like Adam mentioned in the chat, to bypass the coil and literally have dampers controlling the amount of airflow through the coil so that you can keep your air volume up in these large homes that have little loads
That's
and still get dehumidification. They're going to like bypass air around the coil, keep the air moving in the house. Okay, and then bring the proper amount through the coil.
That's good.
Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't cut down the total air volume. Just cut down on the conditioned percentage of the volume. is
exactly.
what you're
Yeah,
saying.
still have
Okay.
good filtration, still have good air circulation, because that's what kind of happens when you have, like, let's say you have a 3,000 square foot house that needs a 2.5 ton unit. That can get a little hairy to try to design a duct system for that.
Yeah.
You could still have 2,000 CFMs with a 2.5 ton unit. You're just still going to only have, 1,000 or 850, 900 CFM going through the coil. And
Yeah. I got you. That'd be an interesting thing to set up.
that would be super easy for you to do too, Zach, is you could just cut a hole in the cabinet on the blower side. Okay. And then have like a bypass duct going around your coil. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll be back just a second.
Don't tell Dallas, but the show's gonna be over by the time he comes back.
Okay. Well, he's a Bosch lover now anyway, so he can.
I don't
He's,
even really
he's
want, I don't even
probably
want him here
offended.
anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand us.
like that's what hurt me the most was to hear Dallas say a Bosch
Bosch.
lover. I mean, a Bosch acceptor, is one thing.
I think the Bosch could be really good, but like I said, it wouldn't be a Bosch anymore. It'd be something else.
Yeah.
like a 5-stage blower. But I don't know. The lowest CFM doesn't work. I don't know, Joe. I guess there has to be something different about the evaporator coil on this unit compared to other units. That's one thing I'm curious about. Because if you can't manipulate this thing enough to get it to dehumidify, at least in my environment, then there must be something characteristically different about the evaporator. Or not it can't even be the metering device because they're all pretty standard. I mean, you can't. But the
Yeah.
evaporator, I don't know what the difference is. I haven't taken a look at it. Like, what is the fin spacing on this?
Right.
I don't know all the details of it, but I feel like there must be something different about it for it to not do the same job that even like a Goodman single stage unit does.
I think it has more to do with the compressor ramping profile. I don't think they have it going quick enough to hit a low enough suction pressure
Yeah.
to really start to dehumidify as the unit cycles normally.
Because it has constant volume of air.
Yeah, well, yeah, like it should have some sort of learning in it, so that it knows that last cycle it needed 2750 RPM to do the, it's got a dip switch that says what, 38 or
They had a
is it
3747. I think.
37. So it should know exactly what RPM it needs to hit 37, and it should get there within 30 seconds. But it doesn't, from what I've understood. It's going to take like a long time to slowly ramp up to finally, and by the time it finally gets there, your call for cooling's dropped. So
Yeah.
it just never has a chance to get there. From what I've heard and talked to people and stuff like that, that's what it sounds like to me, that they could fix it with some software that says, all right, we're going to, start to get this compressor moving quicker and hit that target really quick. And that way, for the duration of your cooling cycle, you're at 37, because I bet if you started to trend yours, it'd be interesting to see that. We could maybe get more data, would be to trend your suction pressure as the unit starts up. But it's got to be like crazy high when that compressor first starts, and then see how long it takes to finally get down to a reasonable suction pressure.
It should be. I mean, it's a mechanical TXV. So, I mean, it has parameters at which it can operate. So, I mean, if that thing's ramped down to almost nothing, I mean, that's not like the TXV can shut an equivalent amount to deal with that low speed. At least I don't think it can. So, therefore, it would be like a really bad compression ratio on the low side. And not dehumidify anything,
Right.
because that constant volume of air is still going where the dew point's going to stay high.
Yeah, well, your TXV is probably doing its job. If you're running a 50-degree evaporator coil, your suction line is probably 60 degrees. But it's all driven by the compressor, so you need to start driving the suction pressure down some.
Use that filter.
They're probably saying back to the factory, we're going to have to make this thing communicating. No, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's what they think. It's like,
Yeah.
what kind of
Joe's
stepping on
going to
our
be right.
toes? Yeah.
Can't let Joe be right.
Yeah.
They have a Joe board. at
Yeah,
their
yeah.
place.
Oh my God.
One thing,
the
it
Bosch
has a
guys.
suction pressure sensor in it, right?
Yes.
It's like
has
a
to.
transducer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's.
I feel
Yeah, on the
I feel
suction
like it
line.
has
Yeah.
to, right?
Yeah, on the inside.
Okay.
I'm
So
thinking here. I'm not. I feel like it has to, but I don't remember
Yeah,
I'm
seeing a
pretty
sure it does.
transducer.
I was saying it must have to if it
Yeah.
has that dip switch.
Yes.
How
yes,
would it know?
But
Yeah.
but it's measuring line temperatures.
Yeah, but
Okay.
how
Yeah.
would it? Yeah, but 60
I'm
degrees.
trying to think it through because I don't remember
Yeah.
looking inside there.
Like a 60-degree line wouldn't tell you much about whether you 37 or 47, because it could be either one. If it
you-
didn't have the pressure transducer.
I don't know if it's making an assumption about a TXV superheating. It could theoretically know.
It could think it knew.
Right. It would think it knew
Yeah,
what it was,
but it might not.
wouldn't know
It would
exactly.
not be
yeah.
right in a lot of circumstances. I'll put it that way. But
So you wouldn't if you had pressure and the line temperature. It's like, okay, I know for sure, but this one would be assuming. I want to say that that's the way it is, but I don't know. I don't know if it has a transducer or not.
so
I'm
my
gonna
thing
find
would
out
be
tomorrow.
if it had a transducer, that would be
It
the
does.
first thing I do.
Yeah.
That's what the chat said. It does.
Yeah,
was-
it's in there. It's in there. I don't know where. I have to look at it.
If it has a transducer, the first thing I would do, if I was Zach, was take the transducer out and put some sort of resistor that just tells it that your
Trick
suction
it.
pressure is really high all the time, and make
You
it
get
do
it to
it.
ramp.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it do its quickest ramp it could
Yeah.
possibly do
Yeah.
in the
I
in
wonder
the
what happens when it
computer.
thinks it's 1,000 psi. Use a different resistor. That would be funny. The Bosch says we need to ramp real high.
Yeah, and then just kind of see how it reacts to that.
Okay. I'm looking there. I don't
Yeah.
remember looking for the suction transducer, which is funny because you figure it would have. So I don't know.
They also have that a valve in there, a valve to balance the pressure so that the compressor can start because low torque.
Oh,
yeah,
it's a
that's right.
rotary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old carriers used to have that.
Yeah. Yeah, they had the big solenoid on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
goes
right.
right from the dust. It went right from the discharge to the suction. I'm like, what the heck
Yeah,
is
yeah.
this for?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
guess that was to stop them from going like.
Oh, yeah,
like
it
the
was.
old ones,
Yeah,
remember?
Yeah, that's right. That was the fix for it. Yeah, they didn't have an anti-rotation device on it back
Mm-hmm.
then.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a fix. Then they also had the 1 inch or the 1 minute delay, so it went
Mm-hmm.
backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first ones. Even the new ones will run backwards if you flip it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's weird they haven't fixed that yet.
Yeah, I think my neighbors did that because we put a ream over there, a 16 SEER 2-stage, and called me, and compressor's not running. Oh, crap. Check the capacitor. Capacitor's perfect. The compressor's out on overload. I'm like, don't tell me, lost a compressor.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to have to eat this one
yeah,
too.
yeah.
But
Businessman Joe's like, no,
I'm like, don't tell me. But
we can fix it.
cooled it down. Boom. Came on. Didn't need a hard start. Cycled it. Boom, 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 boom. Starts up perfect every time. And it was raining and storming. The only thing I could think of was the power must have just glitched just enough to make that sucker
That's the
run
go-to.
backwards.
Right?
And,
Thunderstorm, man.
Well, not just like the lightning did it, but
It was a surge.
it had to be made that thing run backwards and kick
Yeah.
out of overload. Because,
Right.
I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. And I've done it before, touching like the float switches and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I've made
You hear
it.
the
And that's
line set,
exactly what they do. They'll run
Yeah.
and they'll cut out on overload.
like whoops.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, hey, boys, I hate to say, but we have to stop this event because I'm about to go to bed.
Oh yeah, stay out there. Yeah, the party's just getting started out
You can
here.
keep it live. I'll take over.
Yeah.
Legally, I can't.
The Joe show. The Joe show.
All I can say is that I can bring you back again
Yeah.
because I have fun. I thought it was a lot of fun doing this. So let's do it again. Let's confirm
Okay.
on the air so it's legally binding.
Yeah. We'll
All
do
right.
it again.
That's good. Okay. So Eric already left. So this is not the real Zach Ciota for people viewing at the bottom. That is Joe Shearer.
That's my Twitter account.
And he's
Yeah.
yeah, that would be awesome. No wonder someone keeps trying to break into my login. That makes so much sense now. And then on the top right here is Dizzy Dallas Grissom,
Yes.
from California, the man with all the ream units over the years. That's how I know him. And guys, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm gonna shut
Thank
this
you for
thing
having
down.
me.
Oh, I
Bye,
appreciate it.
everyone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say bye to Joe first. Right.
Oh,
So
I get my own bye.
just
Yeah,
I don't know.
goodbye,
You
Joe.
can say it's a positive or negative. You're the first to go, or you're the first to go.
I
But
don't know how to say. Eric was the first to go.
actually, yeah, you're right. But all right, Joe, I'm gonna let you go. Thank you, man.
See ya.
See you later.
And Dallas, thank you as
All right.
well.
Yeah,
Dallas,
thank you for inviting me.
no problem. And hopefully we can do this again. Hopefully next month or two.
Yeah, just give me a shout out or a text or whatever. Or
I'll do it.
I'm
You
always
can paint those
available.
bricks, and we'll
Yeah.
see
I'll change it for next time.
we'll see what the
So,
white bricks look like next time. But
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Okay, alrighty.
Bye, Dallas.
Thanks. Bye.
That was Dallas Grissom, Joe Shearer, and Eric Melee, and that was a lot of fun. I'm going to do this again. It's something I've wanted to do for a while, kind of get a panel of guys together and talk about stuff. Hadn't had a real chance to do that. I also want to do that toward the business side as well, and maybe get some guys like Tersh and Greg Fox together. You guys can let me know whether you like that idea or not. But it is almost midnight here. I'm going to close it down. If you need to let me know, just anything about what you want the show to do as far as topics and stuff, HVAC Shop Talk at gmail.com. You can email me if there's any subjects, any people, anything like that. I'm already searching for some more people to come on the air with me. Won't always be the same subjects, so I hope we can mix it up. But I won't take any more of you guys' time. You have all my information, and you need to contact me. I'm definitely tired. I was sick for the last few days. I've been sick today, but I'm happy to say I kept the coughing to a minimum. I think I hit the button every time I had to cough, and hopefully that goes away before our next show. Other than that, I'm out of here, guys. So I will see you guys on the next one.